Well, good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are in Canada. I'm Gary Brooker along with Lori Seaman here for the Travelers Curling Club Championship. This is draw number 4, Lori, and we are set up for a big game on sheet number 5.
That's right, it is a big game. We're going to be watching Manitoba against Alberta, and this is game number 3 of their round robins. We're halfway through the event for them, and they are battling head-to-head. This is going to be an exciting game to watch.
So what are the records of these two teams? Because this is a big game as we are halfway through this pool play, Pool A, Pool B, and we got a Pool A game here, but what are the records of these two teams this morning?
Right, Manitoba is coming into this game undefeated. They're at 3-0 right now. Congratulations to them, because that's not easy to do in this competition. And Alberta's at 2-1, and they'll be wanting to put their best game forward here. And here we go. Looks like we have the way they determine who gets the first rock and who gets the hammer is by a draw to the button. So the winner of the draw to the button was Manitoba, and Alberta's starting out.
All right. Well, our Team Alberta and the men's draw here from the Peace River Curling Club. I talked to the boys this morning. They wanted to say hi back there at home to everyone in Peace River, especially folks at the Peace River Curling Club. Figure some people watching online this morning. Skip Scott Webb, assuming the position at the other end, ready for his lead, Damien Ganas, to throw the first down.
And we're off. Is there anything more exciting than the first rock of the competition? Hey, here
pretty
we go.
Exciting. I was downstairs just before that talking with both teams, and they're anxious. They were ready to go this morning. Of course, it's not too early of a draw, 10 o'clock local time here, and they're starting to get a feel for this Kelowna ice.
Right, and that's an important factor when you travel from club to club. And Kelowna, of course, has its own unique ice, and this is game number 4 for these boys. So they'll be feeling comfortable. They'll be feeling more confident about what type of ice to take, where to put the broom, and what type of throw you need to make to get to the house the first end. And look at that. Damien had no problem figuring out what guard weight is this morning.
And here comes Cam Barth's first stone for Team Manitoba out of the Fort Rouge Curling Club in Winnipeg.
Now that is a beautiful shot.
Nice way to start.
That's a great way to start. It's not an easy way to start, so congratulations. They used their practice well this morning.
Fully buried. As someone who has curled here in Kelowna on this ice for 22 seasons, I can tell you the consistency of the ice is hard to maintain. The changing climate, the change in humidity in this building, the vastness of this facility, 12 sheets.
It's a big club. It's a very big club. What I found just in the short time that I've been curling here is that we have a lot of swing on this ice, and you saw that in the first draw behind the guard. Took ice somewhere out here in the 12-foot, and it swung right in behind right on the center line.
Very weight sensitive. I was talking to a couple of teams last night that have been struggling, and one of the reasons they're struggling is because of the massive amount of curl we're getting on these sheets, and very sensitive to two things: the weight they're throwing, but also to the amount of turn on the handle. What would they mean by that, Lori?
Right. We'll probably see some evidence of it today. These guys are accomplished curlers, but the release is going to mean an awful lot to how much curl we get out of the rock, or what they get out of the rock. If you throw a nice, clean, fast release, snappy release, it's going to be a true curl. And if you have a little bit of a lazier release, a bit of a softer release, we're going to see it curl much more quickly.
Just sort of cuts across the ice surface.
Yeah, and it's really not controllable. The sweepers will find that they're not able to help that rock. Once it starts curling, it'll be gone. It's very hard to judge, too, if you're in the house holding the broom, and that rock. If you can't see the release very clearly, you won't know when to call the sweeping on.
This is second Stephen Byrne, Team Alberta.
These guys are going at it furious here in the first stand.
What an aggressive start.
And great shot making.
It's going to finish pretty big here.
Yeah. The other thing you'll see when you talk about the release and where we're at on the sheet is it tends to be a little bit of a different reaction to the rock down the center line too. Now we're just only throwing rocks here outside in, so we're seeing the big curl. But we will find that if we start playing inside out at all, that the center line will probably hold that rock a little bit longer before it allows it to start curling.
It looks good. Wait's good.
Andrew Wickman asking his second.
Yeah. What?
Mark Blanchard. Come around the other turn, playing the in-turn side this time.
First rock down this side
I believe it is.
puts a little bit of pressure on you to figure out what weight you're going to need.
Easy, hard. Hard. Off. Oh, sorry. It'll be a double. Sorry.
They're all battling here. Sorry,
No, go ahead.
Gary. Yeah, they're battling here to take control of that all-important control zone in front of the button area.
Hard darts.
A lot of rocks in play already. Actually, none of them out of play.
None of them out of play, exactly.
I think that's going to change right now.
First hit of the game. So they'll be looking for a double here, and you may have heard the Manitoba speaking about having left the double here for.
Sweeping it hard. Over curled a little bit on him, I think. Not what he was looking for, but not a horrible shot by any means.
Not a horrible shot at all. And I'm wondering if maybe this curl didn't catch them a little bit off guard.
We're going to find this will be even with no boards. That'd be nice.
Early morning chess match going to happen here as they're really being aggressive with each other. Skip Andrew Wickman now asking for come around on in-turn side again.
8 foot. Yep.
Here are the sweepers speculating and guessing it'll be about 8 foot weight.
It's nice to have the microphones on the players out there.
You can hear what they're going to talk about. They were joking this morning. They said, "Are those mics live all game? Do we have to be really careful?" I said, "You never know when they're on and when they're on."
And when they're not. I think a lot of these players will be the first time that they've experienced having a microphone while they're curling. So this is a terrific competition. It gives them the opportunity to have those experiences. And here goes the chess game.
So what is Scott Webb asking his third man to do at this point? Asking Alex Wolf to throw a guard? Is that what he was?
Yeah, he'd like a guard close to the house, a couple of feet out in front of the house. He's trying to protect what's on the
Gotta get it out there. Yep.
what's on the button there.
Yes.
He doesn't.
Okay, good.
He's ignored
good.
the rock
Good.
to the other side of the house, the yellow that's in the 8 foot on the other side of the house.
Good.
Looks like he's decided that that's not a dangerous rock. So
I just wanted to make
that
sure
the
we held it
dangerous
open.
side is this side, and he needs to protect this side of the sheet.
So I'm sure there's some viewers wondering, they're not shot rock. Alberta's not shot rock, and yet they're guarding the 4 foot area.
Why do you think that is?
I would be speculating that he's willing to give up one at this point and not anymore.
Yeah, he has a one rock in there, and if Manitoba get at that rock, they can set themselves up for some multiple points. So guarding the one rock that's in there and giving Manitoba one is a great position.
Regular.
This is third Jeff Tarko. Jeff works for Pyrene Fire, Winnipeg.
Watch!
Out-turn hit.
Whoa! Close! Good. Boy, very nice.
A lot of red rocks around that one single lone
Attaboy.
Alberta rock.
Looks like Scott might be saying it's time to get rid of some red.
It's time to get rid of some red.
I don't know, man.
And this will be Alex Wolf's, I guess, last rock of this end.
Right, yep, last rock.
Yep!
So he's looking for an inside roll here, perhaps the double.
Hard! Whoa!
Let's see. Nice throw.
Oh my. Feinstein.
Not great.
Oh. He doesn't like it that much. Well, I guess he did leave it exposed for now. The chance for Manitoba to get the double.
Yeah, you're right. He did leave that double there. So I wonder if he was looking for more of a...
Well, I think he was looking not to bump those ones off the 4-foot area.
So to hit more of the rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to sit there.
So we've skipped stones. Not quite. We got one more rock for third Jeff Tarko. Team Manitoba again. Out of the Fort Rouge Curling Club in Winnipeg.
Okay, there's a good opportunity to clean up both of those yellows.
Wade's good! No! Go. No! Birth! Birth!
Calling him on.
Hard, Birth!
And
Hard, Mark, hard!
as called, there goes both yellows.
Pistol
That was what Scott Webb was worried about, with how he left those lined up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what he was worried about.
Manitoba with the hammer here in the first end, sitting 4. This all-important round 4 game
Hard to get under with
in
anything.
Pool A.
Hard to get under.
Now the one thing, sorry Gary, the one thing that, a couple opportunities here with a lot of guards out front and all of those guards being Alberta guards.
I think that's the first double you made.
If Scott can hit and roll into the middle, he'll be cutting them out of 2, maybe 3.
A little hip and flop is what he's looking for here in behind cover.
It'll go under.
You can see how much ice they're taking there.
Down 10, because I got to get some curl out of it to get under. Otherwise, we're just going to sit
Right. So he's just spoken about that. He's going to give himself a little opportunity here to curl by throwing a little bit less weight, not a normal hit.
That's what we were talking about, being weight sensitive. So just that little less weight will allow the rock to curl more on this very swingy ice.
Right. I think I heard him ask for about a 10-second hit. That would be between hog line to hog line, which is about hack weight.
Oh, just snuck it by.
Okay, he's behind cover.
Certainly has taken away 2 of the Manitoba counters at this point. Manitoba still sitting 1. Second shot belonging to Team Alberta. And it allows Andrew Wickman on his first stone of this first end to try to dry around to the 4-foot buried and sit 2.
Or did it come down?
So he'll want to keep this one in front of the tee line, and the important thing about this shot will be line, so tuck it as much as you can.
Pretty good.
I guess the second important thing about this shot is to be second shot or first
Just
shot.
you, I'll watch it. Line's good. You, go.
Out-turn draw.
Go. Yep, Blanchard, yep.
Calling him on.
Hard!
Mark Blanchard, Cam Barth, sweeping. It's really taken off here. Can they get it by?
Roll this off. Jab off, jab off. Okay.
Just a little light, I guess.
Just a little light. Left it into the open, which might be helpful as a run back rock, depending on where Scott's able to put this draw.
So again, Manitoba sitting 1 with the hammer here in the first end. Leading Pool A with 3-0 record against 2-1 Team Alberta. And quite an exciting first end of play.
That's a lot of action in one first end. It's going to be a battle.
One in there so that he can't play some crazy run for 4.
We will say we were given our choice of games today, and we said we'll hop on this one.
We're hopping all over this one. We knew that Manitoba and Alberta are curling provinces. They're terrific representatives from both of these provinces at any competition, any national competition.
You've got room.
Out-turn hit. He's had to go out into the 12-foot here because we've seen how much the ice is moving, even out on the outsides.
Yeah, we're a long ways out there.
Watch it finish.
Make sure.
They're feeling pretty confident about the weight. Well, they want to make sure that they're... they had a hard time making this one, though. Hey, so far out, they're not able to sweep it.
Well, I did hear a little side conversation that if they didn't want to come deep and give him a hit, so, he's left it in a difficult position for Team Manitoba to get 2 here.
We had to be in, no matter if we're buried or not. You think this is easier?
How does he get to the 4-foot for 2?
Well, he's still taking a real close look at whether there's an opportunity to to throw some type of a hit and maybe double out the Yellowstone that's in the 8 foot.
This is half a rock.
Looking at the thin, I guess he's saying half a rock. Double takeout on the yellow might give him a shot at 4 here.
Alternatively, he can tap back his red rock that's up in the in front of the house for a safe 2. The double here doesn't put him into any danger that I can see, so I think that it's not a bad
Risk to take in the first end.
Right, a good risk to take.
Last rock in this first end of play, round 4. Andrew Wickman.
Just sliding
Over
back.
curled. Oh, we might get fortunate here.
Thank you.
I think he did. I think we're sitting 2 red.
2 red, not exactly how they had designed it.
Sometimes that's the way the rocks roll.
Yeah, when you guys said wait for line, we're like,
And that's the opportunities you're going to set up for yourself. Is that kind of a shot when you have a lot of rocks in play and a lot of rocks out front and they're the right color.
A lot of possibilities.
A lot of possibilities.
So Manitoba with that hammer in the first end, taking 2. 2-0. Manitoba leads Alberta at the end of the first end of play. This Travelers Curling Club Championship here in Kelowna, British Columbia.
Hey, sorry about that.
This is Cam Barth
A lot of things
starting
that could
off
go right
end number
there.
2.
There's a lot of things that could go right there.
You just heard the conversation going on.
That's a terrific thing about this event. Travelers Cup Club Championships. And those were the 2 skips that were bantering back and forth about that last rock. And it's a very social, very relaxed, but very competitive atmosphere.
So we've had a lot of questions about this championship, like who can play in it, how do these teams get here? And that's the exciting thing about the present state of curling in Canada right now. We have the elite curlers really curling almost full time in the winters. They're playing the slam events, they're playing the championships and the big spiels all over the place. Many of them have jobs that allow them to do that, to play almost every weekend.
Exactly.
And the average club curler is not going to get a chance to play in the Brier or the Scotties.
No, we've reached a point in our curling successes as a sport that the average club curler no longer has that opportunity, and perhaps they have the opportunity, but is it really a realistic opportunity to get to the high-level competitions?
I was talking with Tyrell Griffith the other night, who spoke at the opening reception, and he said,
Right.
one of the things he loves about this championship, of course, Tyrell playing for Jimmy Cotter and Team BC, previous championships, as they make a run again this year, but he was saying, like, we really do sort of have 2 levels. We have these professional elite athletes, and then you got what he said is sort of like the true national championship in terms of curling clubs themselves and curling club teams. So these teams would have played together for the year in their curling clubs.
Right. And well said, Tyrell. That's a very good point. And I think that's one of the things that we got to recognize at Travelers was we got to appreciate that Travelers recognized. And this is am I right? This is the 8th year of the Travelers Cup?
8th year. It used to be called the Dominions, and I believe I have to check exactly how many years that Travelers has been sponsoring it. I believe this could be their 3rd or 4th season. I was talking with John Shea last night. John is on the board of governors of Curling Canada, and John was telling me the story about how this championship started.
Right.
And it's a very interesting story how they were sitting around talking about this very thing, how cool it would be for someone like a Wayne Madaw to take 3 novice curlers and still be able to compete at not only a club championship level, but to go to a national championship, because they are allowed to have one elite curler.
One elite curler, that's right.
On their team. And so to see this vision come to fruition in this championship, and it's just gaining more and more popularity.
Right, and it's growing, and it's such a well-run competition too. And look at these teams. Look how they're treated and how well they are representing their provinces. And they're wearing fabulous jackets and sweaters with their provinces' badges on them, and they are here at a competition that is really difficult to get to.
Well, for many of them, they're sacrificing a week's worth of work. They're having their companies are having to give them a week off. I talked to one of the Team Saskatchewan players last night, a school teacher.
Right.
She has to pay a substitute teacher to come in for her every day this week. So it's actually they're not getting paid to be here. I can tell you that.
So it's a true club championship.
We are in the second end of play. Manitoba leading Team Alberta 2-0. Manitoba at a record of 3-0 this morning as we head into this fourth draw. Alberta at 2-1. And a lot of curling yet to go this morning. And we've had a number of questions too. We're just playing 8 ends of play rather than 10.
That's right. Which is a common club length of game. So 8 ends for the competition. We have a break at the 4th end. They have the opportunity to have 2 timeouts.
There's an interesting roll all the way across the house. Spins up right in front of their other rock behind the rings.
Yeah, it just gives it a little bit of tiny bit more complexity. So you have to be a little bit careful as you're taking this out.
Stephen Byrne throwing the out-turn hit for Team Alberta. Picks it out, rolls away.
Nice rock. So this is a good example. Here's the Alberta team. They're from Peace River. They are friends that have just curled together. They're from different walks of life, different ages, different age groups, and you'll find across the sheets different age groups too. Newfoundland has a wonderful lady that's curling with them, that's curled her whole life. She's done triathlons her whole life. When she comes to this event, 73 years old.
Amazing. We've got a team that has a father-son. We've got a women's team with a mother and 2 daughters.
2 daughters, that's right. Yeah.
Pretty exciting.
And a lot of family have come to cheer these folks on. Come to Kelowna to take advantage of the location and to cheer on their family members. We have a big contingent of people from Manitoba here.
I believe between the women and the men's team from Manitoba, we were talking about close to 50 of their fans have come from Manitoba.
That's great.
Could be worse places to visit, though, at this time of year than Kelowna.
Right, yeah.
Pretty simple second end compared to the complexity of end number 1, Laurie.
Yeah, it looks like they, well, the first rock slid into the house, and I'm not sure whether that was the call or not. I missed the first call, but that makes it a much different end than the first end.
Nobody willing to go gambling at this point, playing it a little tight in the second end.
And sometimes you just want to give your brain a little bit of a break, too. That first end was pretty complex.
Really hard. Really hard.
This is Jeff Tarko, third for Team Manitoba. He's going to hit and roll out.
There's no doubt they're comfortable with the ice. Putting the broom in the right place. Draws have been good.
Their 13-4 was back 4.
Scott Webb asking his third Alex Wolf come down and play the in-turn draw and possibly even freeze at that Manitoba rock at the back of the rings.
Yeah,
Freeze, one of the hardest shots in curling. And on this type of swinging ice, it's even that much more difficult.
Yep. We're not there. We're going to curl past.
Alex is a junior materials technologist for Spectre Engineering back in Peace River. His mom and dad and sister are here. Also her aunt and uncle.
Oh, good.
Talking to them just before the game. They're just excited to be here hanging out with the team.
That's great. And as a curler, that's just gives you such support to know that there's someone behind the glass cheering you on. That nice weight on this draw. A little bit of an overcurl.
Andrew Wickman's first rock of this, the second end of play. Team Manitoba playing the outturn hit as well.
Yep. Yep. Hard nudge. Right up. Oh, boy.
see again just the movement on those hits. You know, they're throwing, they're not underthrowing those hits, and they are moving.
They are moving, yeah. And they're working hard on the brushes.
I was talking with the Nova Scotia ladies after their draw yesterday, and they were talking about the ice, and they're starting to get a feel for it. But they said when you sit in the hack and you look even on a hit at the amount of ice being taken, they said you just got to believe.
You just got to believe.
Just got to believe that it's going to curl that much, because it's counterintuitive to what many of them play on year round. Much straighter.
Isn't that the truth? One of the simplest philosophies in curling, hey? Look at the broom, believe the broom, throw towards the broom, and release towards the broom. But boy, that plays with your head a lot. When you
I don't know. My men's team motto is that the broom is just a guide. Yeah. Scott playing the intern draw again, trying to get it down somewhere close to and frozen if possible to the one at the back of the rings. Look at it curl. Even with a lot of
work by the brushes, and they're working
Keep
hard.
going! Keep going! Hard! Hard!
One
Go,
rock
go,
in
go,
the back
go.
they're trying to create some offense with.
it's very nice stone.
Very nice.
Good sweeping.
These guys are not having trouble figuring out their weight. Well done.
Have we seen a lot of change in weight from, let's say, the first in to later in the game here in Kelowna this week so far, Laurie? Or are we seeing pretty consistent ice times?
You know, it's actually been very consistent. I was timing the first end rocks for this game, and right at the get-go, we were looking at 13.5 to the tee line. So that's a nice, keen start to the game. And what I found yesterday was that it didn't change an awful lot.
Did hear some numbers around 14 yesterday.
Getting up to 14.
It's good.
We'll watch that closely here. It's you know, between 13.5 and 14 is nice, and if it's not changing a whole lot, you're going to catch on to that pretty quickly.
This is the last rock for Team Manitoba in the second end. Removing the stone for Team Alberta, and we're down to one rock remaining. Scott Webb will
Should track a little bit.
try to make this go away and blank the second end and go at it again in end number 3.
What a different end.
Yeah, tale of 2 games.
Tale of 2 games.
You heard him say that this should track a bit. What's he referring to here?
That would mean that he believes that rock is going to travel a little bit straight for a while before it starts to curl.
Will that be due to the spot in the ice, or a combination of factors? Could be the weight that he's going to throw.
Yeah, it would be a combination of factors, but he does talk about that specific spot in the ice being a bit of a place that tracks. So he's seen something in the ice that believes that they don't need to jump on it. And he threw good weight at it, so I think he had that figured out exactly right.
There you go, blank in end number 2.
Game is moving along quickly.
So after 2 ends of play, we've got Team Manitoba, this Pool A game, all important, round 4, leading Team Alberta by a score of 2-0. We move to the third end of play. Again, Team Manitoba out in the lead in Pool A with a 3-0 score on their game so far. 2-1, 2 wins, 1 loss for Team Alberta. Or we can probably take a look at the scoreboards, Laurie, across the sheets after second end of play. Most still playing the second end of play, but maybe we'll give that a minute and let some of those games finish off their second end, and then give an update across the board this morning. Where we see you were talking about things that teams don't normally experience in club play. One, of course, was the miking of the television games, or the live stream games.
Right.
You also see the clocks, the time clocks behind the sheet. That wouldn't be normal for a average men's league game or ladies.
No, you're exactly right. That wouldn't be normal for a club, even a club championships. You might not even see that at a district playoff if you're in the district playoffs, maybe at a provincial playoff. But what that clock is showing is that the Travelers allows the teams 30 minutes each of thinking time. So get a shot of the clocks at the back here while we're watching someone throw. Each team's, there we go. Red on top is 24 minutes. left, and Manitoba on the bottom has, or rather Alberta at the bottom has 22 minutes left. So they have 30 minutes of thinking time to get
So
their
that would
way
be the
through
time
game.
between when the rock comes to a stop and the time when the next rock is delivered.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So as this rock comes to a stop, it then becomes Alberta's clock starts running.
Gotta go hard, gotta go!
So it does keep them honest in terms of not taking too much time to make decisions. They do get the 2 timeouts each, as you have alluded to.
Right, 2 timeouts of 1 minute each. I don't think through the round robin here yet we've seen any teams have any difficulty with time clocks.
Or do you want to throw that?
So
Pace of play has been good.
pace of play has been good.
So we've got some rocks in play here in the third end.
And you can see in the clock here at the back that it's running down Alberta's time as they're figuring out what they want to do here. And it'll continue running until
Till the release.
this rock comes to,
That's when he leaves the hack. So
yeah.
Yeah, gotta go!
of course, the timing officials, all volunteers here.
Real hard! Whoa!
Delicate come around. Will he remove that stone belonging to
You
Manitoba?
guys held that good.
Well done. You've got to throw exactly the right weight to have that happen.
So he didn't remove it, but he also kept his shooter in the
Held
rings.
that really good.
Nothing got bended there. You guys held it.
Our rock's still in, man.
Yeah, Manitoba needs to do something about that.
Come up!
Oh, yeah, you guys held it pretty straight. I said whoa at the end.
Good. Yeah! Whoa! Watch Andy!
Mark Blanchard.
Right up! Oh, boy.
And Manitoba sits 2.
The end result was quite nice. It's tucked behind that guard.
If we get into trouble, we'll peel probably.
So it looks like Team Alberta, the direction of their skip, Scott Webb, quite prepared to take some chances here and see if they can put a multiple point end together. End number 3.
Yeah, good opportunities here for Alberta with the 2 Manitoba Rocks being behind the tee line and a couple of guards up. So it's taking advantage of that situation.
Stephen Byrne throwing the out-turn draw around. Stephen is a electrician, instrumentation at DMI, Peace River.
Guard, gotta go!
To say hello to his wife Charlene and daughter Taryn this morning.
Hard! Whoa! Yeah. Don't worry about that guard so high.
It is a high guard.
Winnipeg?
That means it's a longer guard. Is that what
Long
they're referring
guard,
to?
it's a high guard, it's a long guard. It's difficult to come around this with such swinging ice as well. You need to have exactly the right ice for the rock to stop right behind the guard.
Don't mind that.
And because of that, it looks like Team Manitoba, Andrew Wickman, is asking his second, Mark Blanchard, to remove that guard. Let's get rid of it.
Let's not play around with that anymore. Let's get it out of the way.
2-0 lead. He doesn't want to get too many rocks in play here and risk giving up a big end.
Right, so he's conceding that if Alberta were to play the perfect game right now and draw perfectly, that he would be giving Alberta 2. A few more rocks to come, though, and lots of things can happen.
And we still have the center line guard in play,
like
too,
that.
which could come into play. I see that Scott looks like he's going to ignore that right now and go try to freeze down to the one behind. Oh, now he's changed his mind. Looks like he'll have call for the outturn draw. Stephen Byrne throwing the outturn draw around that center.
Line's good.
Again, taking that
room.
wide ice out there.
Close. Yep. Real hard.
working it hard.
Even up, even up, even up.
Comes around the guard nicely, and
Good, 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 good.
look at that finish off right in behind,
Yeah, beautiful.
almost to the forefoot.
And paying attention to keeping it even with the other yellow rock so he doesn't set up a double. Tucked it around just perfectly.
At 14
Very nice throw.
That wasn't me.
I heard the time. He just said 14-3, hog line to hog line. So we're
We're caning up. We're caning up. And that's the kind of, I think that we'll see those kind of numbers for most of the game now.
Caught the curl at the right place.
talking to the ice crew here yesterday. They've been very happy with how the ice has been holding up throughout the whole game. We haven't seen a lot of breakdown in the pebble and holding those times right through to the end of the game.
I think the curlers would agree with that. There's a lot of comments about the condition of the ice, and they're happy with the condition of the ice. That's a lot of work, so congratulations to the crew here in this big club, this big 12-sheeter club, and keeping everything running as smoothly and as well as it is. Okay, more opportunities here.
Scott Webb asking his third, Alex Wolf.
He's going to go to the outside here.
Hard! Oh!
Try to use that.
Oh, they're pounding this.
Okay. Don't burn yourselves out. We're not getting there.
Recognizing it was going to come up short. Changes the end a little bit.
This might have been one of the situations we talked about earlier with the weight coming off from the inside out. It curls so hard that it can catch you a little bit off guard and pull the weight off of it.
Whoa! Yep. Whoa!
Trying for the run back here.
Oh, just missed it.
Just missed it.
With the ice swinging so much, that is one of the hardest shots to make in this situation would be to that straight back run back. You've got to hit it so precisely, and you're predicting when it's going to curl, how much it's going to curl.
Right, and what's going to happen to the rock, the run back rock, after you have contact with the run back rock.
A lot of factors.
Like that?
Make and break a lot of skips, hey? Leave them scratching their head. When to call the rock on, when to call the sweepers off.
Team Alberta sitting one, the third end, trying to put together a multiple point end here. Would like to get two for sure to tie it up.
I think he's calling a bit of a tap back here. Is that what you've seen?
Yeah, they were talking about either coming right around or the tap. I wouldn't be surprised if we're playing this sort of the combination here. A little bump and roll.
Yep! How much? Yep!
You can hear with these teams mic'd up for these games, you can hear, you can get a sense of how loud it is out there. And that's another comment we've had from these curlers. With 12 sheets going, it's a very, very echoey building. And
Right.
some of the teams were having to come up with hand signals to be able to communicate well with each other, because
Yeah,
you
you're
can't overshout your neighbor.
Time and time again, and you probably heard on the broadcast and the first draw, our women curlers out there could not communicate, and time and again they talked about it afterwards, and they listened to the live streaming broadcast afterwards, and you could clearly hear the skips yelling and the sweepers being confused and not sure what they're hearing and who to follow. It takes a few games out here to start to hear what it is that you want to hear. So that was another thing about coming to this club is one of the differences that you have to get used to.
Well, a lot of these teams playing in smaller clubs, you know, they're playing at 3 and 4 sheet curling clubs where
Right.
there's not that many voices yelling at one time.
Right. And maybe something else that's new is we've got a combination of women and men out here. Maybe they're not as used to that and having men calling on sheets next to them.
That was the danger in putting that rock where Team Alberta did, as they gave Andrew Wickman a chance to make the double, and he
performed it perfectly.
so it didn't leave the rings, but he is sitting 3. Team Manitoba. And the fist pump from his third, Jeff Tarko.
Yeah, it got them out of a little bit of a jam there.
Got a rare smile out of Andrew Wickman there. He's a pretty serious-faced guy.
They're focused people.
Pistol, really. Pistol.
So there's a few rocks out front. Scott can tuck behind.
First rock, and this the third end for Scott Webb. Alberta Championship rank from the Peace River Curling Club. Intern draw rather, around the center line guard.
Goal
Look at the
line,
amount
goal
of
line.
rotation on there.
We're working that hard.
Though just didn't come over quite as much as he was hoping.
And the sweepers took that a long way.
I think that Manitoba's still sitting one. I was talking last night with Scott Hill. He's the skip from Team Quebec, and Scott was saying they play on ice at the Ormston Curling Club. It's very straight. And he said so they're really having to adjust in terms of the amount of rotation they're putting on the rock. You know, he said he has a couple of guys that throw half a turn to a full rotation normally, and it's just fine. But here you throw, if your rock is only rotating half a handle's turn on the way down, you guarantee it's going to curl about two times more than anything else.
Right, and it's not going to be a predictable curl either. On straight ice, that's it's straight ice is nice that you don't have to worry too much about your release. You can
Get a little play on it, yeah.
Manhandle it in a number of different ways and get the same result.
So Andrew trying to make the Alberta Stone go away and sit.
Sit a bundle.
You can sit 4 after this one. Well, 3 for sure. Looks like 4. And it'll force Scott Webb to draw for what he hopes to be a single here in the third end. Last stone in this third end of play.
It's nice that he's just throwing the draw, so he's got a sense of what he needs to do here. He's a little bit farther out than he was his first shot.
Again, we haven't seen a lot of time difference in general from the 12-foot out into the inside. It's been pretty consistent.
Pretty consistent.
And the last rock of this, the third end, underway.
I think it was a little more.
Just cleaning it at this point. No panic here.
Yeah, looking pretty comfortable. A little bit of slide there, but no worries. Right in the forefoot.
Thanks.
So, third end. They now trail Team Manitoba by a score of 2-1. As we go to the fourth, Manitoba will have the last rock advantage. Let's do a little rundown of the games going on out on the ice right now, if we can, Laurie. I've taken a glance across the sheets as we go to the fourth end on our sheet. After 2 ends of play on sheet number 1, we've got an Ontario leading Nova Scotia. That's a men's game by a score of 3-0.
Right.
Ladies game on sheet 2. We've got Manitoba women in Pool B. They're at 3-0, playing 0-2 Northern Ontario. But Northern Ontario playing in that third end is up 2-0. As we glance over at sheet 3, we've got the Battle of the Territories, Yukon Territory versus the Northwest Territory. We're in the
And that's the men's competition.
That's a men's competition Pool B game, and Yukon at 0-2 would really like to get a win this morning. They're tied up 1-1 after 2. Sheet 4 right beside ours, we've got a women's game from Pool A. And okay, what's the score? They just marked up the third end. That's BC,
Right.
Alberta. Both
right, and Alberta's leading 3-2.
3-2, and both BC is a 1-2 record. Alberta for the ladies with a 1-1 record. We continue to watch rocks coming down the sheet on sheet 5, where we're watching this morning. In the fourth end, where Team Manitoba is leading Team Alberta by a score of 2-1. Let's continue our rundown of the sheets right now. We can look over at sheet 6 on the other side of our sheet this morning. It's a women's game. It's a Pool A game. New Brunswick versus the Yukon Territory. New Brunswick at 1-1 in the ladies' side here, and Yukon at 0-2. And just finishing off the third end. I'm not sure what happened there, but after 2, it was Yukon 2-0 on Team New Brunswick. Over on sheet 7, it's a men's game. New Brunswick and Newfoundland, Labrador, 5-2. They're in the fourth end now. It's 5-2 for Newfoundland, Labrador. On sheet 8 this morning, we have a 4-0 lead for, this is a ladies' game. Newfoundland, Labrador against PEI. And Newfoundland, Labrador again leading 4-0. Sheet 9. Northern Ontario, that's a men's game. Northern Ontario and Quebec. They're in the fourth end as well. Quebec leading Northern Ontario by a score of 4-2. Might need your help seeing sheet 10 over there, Lori.
That's right. On sheet 10, we have Northwest Territories is playing against Saskatchewan.
Got room.
And right
No
now,
lost
after
room.
3, it's a score of 1-0 for
Closer,
Saskatchewan.
Yep.
Sheet 11, you can probably see
You're
that
mine,
better
you're
than I
mine,
can at
you're
this
mine.
point as well.
Right on, Saskatchewan is playing against PEI on the men's side, and
good.
right now,
Little bit.
after
Oh, boy, beauty.
let me see, after 2, we have a score of 2-0 for PEI.
And on sheet 12, way
Hey,
over there,
Mike,
big
your turn.
battle this morning. In the
Sheet
ladies,
12.
this is a Pool A game, and it's 2 3-0 teams. It's Ontario at 3-0, Nova Scotia 3-0, and after 3 ends of play, looks like Nova Scotia is up on Ontario by a score of 3-2.
Looks like they've had a really good battle over there. 2 for Ontario in the first end, 2 for Nova Scotia in the second end, and Nova Scotia stole 1 in the third.
Look at this freeze coming down here in our fourth end of play, Team Manitoba, right down into the 4-foot.
Terrific freeze. This is how we started the game. Looks like game on again.
Manitoba with the hammer here in the fourth end of play, leading 2-1 over Scott Webb and his men's championship team from the Peace River Curling Club, Peace River, Alberta. This is Stephen Byrne, second for Team Alberta, throwing the in-turn draw around that center guard. Trying to force some
Got a cut.
mistakes
Here
out of
comes.
Team Manitoba here. Look at
Yep,
this
yep.
rock finish up here.
He's keeping it
Yep.
clean. Nice curl at the end.
Right to it.
Sweeping
Right
it
to
for
it,
the
right
extra
to it.
curl at the
Right
end.
to it.
Right to it.
Boy.
Very reminiscent of Ed number 1.
Very reminiscent. Nicely lined up.
For those fans watching at home, not only can you see 2 games live streamed every draw this week, you can also watch the other sheets. They're live scoring them online at curling.ca under the Travelers Championship banner.
Where's the way?
You can watch end by end results go up.
What's up? Yep. 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 Yep.
At this point, he's going to try to get by.
Not exactly what he had designed, but I don't think it hurts him too badly, although Scott's taking a look at right now, maybe getting, is there a chance here to get an inside bump and roll and be sitting too? No, not going to take it.
Well, there probably is a chance, although if he did the inside roll, he'd be bumping his yellow rock that's biting the butt and bump it into the open a little bit, and that's probably what he wants to avoid by taking this shot, or doing this shot rather. So he's looking at the outside roll here.
This Team Alberta sitting one right now. Would love nothing more than to steal point here in the fourth end.
Yep. Yep. Hard. Whoa. Whoa. Whoa.
Called for the hit and roll to the outside. Successfully administered by Stephen Byrne.
Not sure if they informed me or not, but second stone.
There's 3 red. The lights never went off.
Okay.
So what's Andrew Wickman doing with the opposite end of his broom on the ice?
Right.
What was he asking for?
What he's asking for is for some advice from the folks down on the hack. How much can they see of that rock in the A-foot? How much
Behind
can
the
they
guard, okay.
see behind the guard, exactly. So I think he was looking at whether it was time to go after that lineup of rocks in the house. He's chosen to not, and it's probably a result of not being able to see an awful lot of it. So if we can put another rock on top of that pile of rocks, it'll be easier to get at.
Mark Blanchard coming around here with an intern.
Right, so what he'll want to do is to have this stop just in front, corner freeze to that yellow one. Stop there. He bounced off of it. Now, had it stopped just a little bit shorter, maybe he would have the opportunity next shot to run things back. But because he's bounced it into the open, it's given Alberta a chance to remove it cleanly.
This is third Alex Wolf's first stone for Team Alberta in the fourth end.
Okay with that. I don't mind this.
Asking for the intern hit.
Yep! Yep! Real hard! Gotta go, guys.
I'm working it hard for line here. It's really curling.
Either got that going a little bit or just maybe a little less weight than he had hoped to throw, and you can see the result of that, over curling.
I think that Scott may have called for a little bit less than normal weight. The release might have been just a little to the inside.
What do we got?
Let's changes the picture a bit. A couple of options here for Andrew. You see, he took a look at whether he should just
It looks like
bump his shot back a bit.
Jeff Tarko is going to come down and have a chat with his skip before he throws this. Always a good idea when you're not sure what you're going to do.
Yeah. Take a look at the options. Take a look at what the person that's throwing the rock is feeling comfortable with. And
Let's see if we can listen in on their conversation.
That's what he's trying to do. Yeah,
It's not terrible.
Oh, no.
The three probably scoots to here. Like I was thinking about doing this.
That was gone.
Right? So what? Like 3/4 of a rock?
Maybe the red and yellow split off a little,
Okay.
off, hey?
Yeah.
That's really great to be able to hear that conversation, talking about their options and what they're hoping for here. They do have some options, and even on the result, they've got some possibilities here. So I think they've decided on the out-turn hit.
right, they're going to move some rocks around here with a little bit of weight.
It's good, Rig,
Whoa!
Manitoba tuck there, nice straight delivery. Got some good weight on this shot.
Manitoba tuck.
Hurry hard!
And
All right, great shot.
Hey, that's good.
Beauty.
okay, that's not a bad result at all.
Well, I think they achieved what they wanted to, and that was to sort of free up a chance to get rid of that Alberta Yellowstone just biting the top of the forefoot, and they've certainly done that.
They've certainly done that, and they've left themselves in a good position with both of their rocks in good places.
You can see by the look on Scott's face, he's saying, uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Okay, what are we going to do now? He's looking for some help.
Oh, and he's saying uh-oh enough that we're going to call a timeout.
It's an uh-oh timeout. Right, and again, Manitoba's two red rocks are in terrific positions.
Well, and
They-
with Manitoba up 2-0, you don't want to give up another deuce or even three this end.
That's exactly right. Exactly right. There was a great way that his Manitoba's rock is frozen to the only, well, the Alberta rock that's in the forefoot. It doesn't matter where you touch that red rock, the yellow rock's out the back of the house.
I think I said 2-0. It's actually 2-1. Manitoba leading 2-1 here in the fourth end of play. scoring 2 in the first end, a blank second end, and Alberta getting 1, forced to take a draw for 1 in the third end of play.
They're going to be playing some messing in here, so we got to be careful. Well, we got to move it further. It's got to go to here, so there's no chance. That might have been the best shot of your life.
You want to make sure you're going to be left with that.
Just an open hit, but still. Okay, that's a shot.
Yeah, I think so.
Interesting discussion
Just
again.
throw here, Alex.
Wow.
Okay, I think what they've settled on here is just that as has been indicated, the back 4 weight tap. What they're aiming to do is have the shooter just roll a little bit to the center line so that the yellow rock that is tapped back, the Alberta rock that is tapped back, will have a guard.
Be nice to have a little telestrator here you could draw on the
Yeah.
screen for us, show us where that rock's going to go.
Alex was indicating with his broom all over the place, so we were interpreting that's what the plan was there.
As you guys know, we've got a couple of hard provinces to do anything in.
Some friendly banter back there between the skips as Alex Wolf delivers
A really important shot.
his last rock of this, the 4th end of play.
Getting better, getting better.
Here it comes.
Yep.
I like the weight.
Whoa, whoa.
I like the line. I'd like to curl a little bit more.
That's okay. That's not terrible.
That's not terrible.
Not terrible. It's better than an 0-0.
That didn't move.
Yeah, that's a good weight.
Why are you saying it's not terrible, is it?
They can't really double them out, I guess, right?
Can't really double them out.
Because if they were to make a run on the top Yellowstone and the top of the 8-foot, it looks like that back yellow one would go directly onto the their own rock in the back of
In
the
the
4-foot.
4-foot.
So we got,
And probably jam there.
what turn do we want to play? This one? Okay, we kind of wait. Okay.
Talking about playing looks like a normal hit weight here, be on the upside. I don't think he's playing for the double, though. I think he's playing for the hit and flop here. I'm not sure why what the final decision was here. Asking his third, Jeff Tarko, on his last rock of this 4th end of play, leading 2-1, Team Manitoba over Alberta, with the hammer.
Little up. Close. Yep. Whoa. Hard to read him. Whoa.
Well, all these rocks are fairly open, so
Count. Count. Oh, boy. John.
which is really isolating that yellow one. So hit and flop gives them.
Is that goal?
Well, actually, that's the lineup is the angles are not conducive to getting rid of that yellow one.
That's what I'm worried about. Well done, boys.
Make it difficult for sure.
I think it spins down.
So Scott's taking a look at whether he needs to remove some of the reds.
A hair high is okay.
Yeah.
So we didn't comment on this yet. Scott skipped for Team Alberta, Scott Webb, but we have the second holding the broom when Scott comes to throw.
Yeah, well, does this true? Make sure that we kill
Yeah,
that.
you're right. And I've found that a number of teams out here are have different combinations of what works best for their team.
Could that be
And
due to an injury, or is there?
I understand that there was
Just a
some
hair
back
on this side.
pain
Just to
that
try and
I think Stephen did was
Stevens.
that could be in this game that Stevens, wants to give his back a bit of a rest here, so he's not sweeping and skips rocks, allowing him to hold the broom.
So is that something that they're just doing for this game?
I
or
don't
they-
know.
I'm
That's a
not
very
sure
good
either.
question. We'll check into that during the 4th end break and see if we can get some insight.
Get some insight.
Still not certain what they want to do here. You got to be very careful in this 4th
He can
end.
play it this way too. He can play it this way and spin it out.
I don't want to take the abuse. Stop playing on this team.
Some discussion on whether
like
throwing
that
the
hit,
guard
we're
is
just gonna jam that.
better than trying to get rid of some red rocks.
Okay.
Well, the way the red rocks are lined up right now, they actually quite protect the one lone Alberta rock in the 4-foot. Although it does leave the
other one, or just a
Manitoba opportunity to raise the yellow guard onto the red.
Could give a multiple point
yeah.
of 3. I think he's decided actually to throw a bit of a guard here.
Pretty soft. Pretty soft.
Well, if he can tuck this guard around the Manitoba guard,
Take away some options.
or the Alberta guard.
Scott Webb's first rock in the 4th end here.
Oh! Yep, yep, yep!
Oh,
Oh,
Okay.
oh! Sorry, dude.
What kind of way you want to throw field?
Makes that, I mean, I'll have a shot.
They've
Anything decent.
no discussion here. They're going right after that
He's
run
gonna
back.
block it with the
looks
Yellow
like they've
to-
been looking at it. What we were talking about, the run
Right.
back of their Alberta rock, but onto their own rock in the rings to then jam out the yellow Alberta rock and possibly to sit 3.
It's going to spin, but it's going to spin here.
Andrew Wickman playing from the Fort Rouge Curling Club, Winnipeg, Manitoba.
Oh,
Oh, shit.
What are we, 1 and 2?
Yeah.
right. Well, that removed an awful lot more rocks than I thought might go.
And I think more than that they were hoping for too. Not exactly the result they were looking for.
Yeah.
Is there a chance here now on a Alberta run back to remove both the remaining Manitoba rocks out of the rings? Raised double possibility?
It's possible. It's possible. They're lined up fairly straight.
Just a hair high. Just a hair high. Or what do you see?
Should definitely do some jamming back there.
To be close. It's not in for a jam. It's going to be tough.
Yeah. It's going to be a little bit tough. But you would be left with 3 yellow rocks sitting in front of the button, and that's a good position to be in.
So quite a bit of weight here. Out turn hit his last rock of this, the 4th end.
Yeah, it was there. Nicely
Wowie.
done. What a turnaround. If that top one's biting, they're sitting 4.
So 2 rocks ago, it looked like Manitoba was in good shape to get 3.
Don't you love this game?
Just never know.
That's well thrown.
And with a less than desirable result on Andrew Wickman's first rock of this end, certainly has turned around the end. With that raised double, we now see Alberta totally putting the pressure on Andrew Wickman and his Manitoba rink here to get out of a little bit of trouble here in the 4th end.
What an interesting result. It would be really difficult to predict that Manitoba's throw would have made such a difference.
Good.
Last rock, 4th end. Andrew Wickman, out turn draw against 4. 3 for sure.
Whoa, baby.
Hard to tell with the camera angle. Oh, and it's skating. And here we're going to see how keen it is. Watch this.
He's going to want to walk back. He's going to want to get this one back.
Just that little bit of extra weight, and they will not stop. They will not dig in. So
Didn't use his sweepers at all. Slid right through.
we didn't take a measurement, so I'm guessing they know exactly if it's 3 or 4. Hard for us to tell. We'll
Either way, it's a big end and a really unpredictable result.
We will wait for what they've decided, whether it's 3 or 4, and we'll give you the update as soon as we come back right after these words.
One might say I was born to overcome challenges. 2 months premature, in and out of the hospital, and a heart condition. My parents call me their miracle baby. As with all survivors, I searched for my place in this world, and I found it here. This pebbled ice is where I battle now, and at only 12, I am already a 5-year veteran of this sport. I have my sights set on the Olympics. I will push hard to get there. The only size that matters in this sport is the size of your dreams.
Before there was ice, there was our hallway at home. I was always the shy, quiet kid who loved math. But when I saw math come alive in the geometry of the game, I found my passion and my voice. It's a game of precision, a game of inches. It's the equation that now defines who I am.
This ice is everything. It's where I come to feel close to her, to feel whole. This building helped raise me when my mother no longer could. When I step on the ice, she steps with me. My dad is my rock. We're a team now, like the four of us when we step on the ice. People say that this isn't a contact sport, but that's not true. It contacts you where you need it the most.
And we're back. We are live at the Travelers 2016 Curling Club Championship in Kelowna, British Columbia. I'm Gary Brooker along with Laurie Seaman this morning. It'll be morning here in BC, 10 after 11, but it's in the rest of the country, we're in the afternoon.
And we welcome you here to the sunny Okanagan.
I don't know where you were this morning. It was raining when I was running, although I did look out the window. It is sunny now. We're going to do a recap of what's going on. I will tell you, as we went for the break, we just finished end number 4 on our feature game here between Manitoba, who's sitting at 3-0 this morning, and Team Alberta at 2-1. It was 4 points for Team Alberta, a steal of 4 in the fourth end. What a change in this game.
Such a big turnaround, and really an unfortunate situation to have you draw through the whole game and then throw against 4 Rocks that are sitting in the house and have it just slide through. That's just that just beats you up.
Yeah. They have to shake that one off and pop right back. So it is 5-2 right now for Team Alberta against Manitoba in this all-important Pool B game, 4th game of this round robin within their pool. We'll flip over to sheet number 1 right now, and we'll give you some highlights and scores as we continue following all these games. So on sheet number 1, we have the men's game from Pool B. 3-0 Team Ontario is out in front of Team Nova Scotia by a score of 4-1. Laurie, you got sheet number 2 for us?
Right, on sheet number 2.
It's a Pool B game, I guess, with the ladies.
Let me just get that up for you.
3-2, I believe. I can see that one better than you can right now. Team Manitoba over Team Northern Ontario. Manitoba at 3-0. Northern
That's right,
Ontario
3-2.
0-2. On sheet number 3, got a men's game. Yukon Territory, Northwest Territories, 2-2 after 4 ends.
Okay, and on sheet number 4.
It's a Pool A ladies game.
That's right. And we've got BC playing against Alberta. And after the 4th end, you can see that Alberta is ahead 7-2.
On our feature game, we'll come back to in a minute, but Alberta leading Team Manitoba in the men's draw 5-2. Sheet number 6.
Over on sheet number 6, sorry, Gary,
No, go
we've
ahead.
got New Brunswick and Yukon Territories. And after 4 ends, Yukon Territories is posted 1 in the 4th end, so they're up 3-2.
Going across the other half of the rink on ice sheet number 7. It's a game in Pool B for men's as well. It's New Brunswick and Newfoundland Labrador looking for their first win. New Brunswick trailing 6-2, so Newfoundland Labrador hoping for their first win of this competition. On sheet 8.
On sheet 8, we have the East Coasters here. We've got Newfoundland ladies playing against the PEI ladies, and it's been all Newfoundland. They've, after 4 ends, they're up 5-0.
Pool A men's game on sheet 9. Northern Ontario and Quebec. Quebec also looking for their first win of this competition at 0-2. Can you see a score update there for us? There we go.
Sheet number 9. Right now, Quebec is ahead by a score of 4-2 over Northern Ontario.
Sheet number 10. We have Northwest Territories, Saskatchewan, both teams at 1-1. That's a ladies' game there, and we can see that it's 3-0 right now for. I can't see.
Yeah, that's for Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan's up.
ahead 3-0 against Northwest Territories.
Okay, sheet 11, Pool B game for the men. We've got Saskatchewan leading PEI by a score of 4-2. And over there on sheet 12, it's the battle of the undefeateds in Pool A for the ladies. And they're all tied up at 3-3. Again, we're here at the Travelers Curling Club Championship, Kelowna, British Columbia. We are on day number 3, draw number 4. And a very important day for standings here in their pool draws in this championship. We are on the fifth end of 8, and you're watching Team Manitoba away from the glass, drawing around centerline guard, needing to manufacture some points right now as they gave up a steal of 4 in the 4th end.
So as you can expect, Manitoba is going to need to be aggressive here, looking to put a lot of rocks in play, leave a lot of rocks out front, a lot of drawing going on, and right now with 3 rocks in front, they're setting themselves up for some success here.
This is second Stephen Byrne, Team Alberta, in turn. We did get some information at the break. In fact, it's not a back issue that's causing them. This is their regular lineup. Stephen does hold the broom when Scott is throwing.
Right, and you have to find what works for your team.
Nice draw, come around there. Sitting 2. Looks like Scott and his Alberta rink at this point, willing to
play the game, play along.
Well, they've been playing so well, and there's often the discussion of why would you change your game when you're all of a sudden playing offensively, you get some points, and then you switch to defense. And
right, still 3 ends left to go, 3 or 4 ends left to play. So stick to the thing that's working for you, and they've got their draw weight, they've got the ice figured out, and 2 beautiful rocks sitting on the top of the 4-foot. So
we've got a timeout for Team Manitoba here. I think they have a decision to make because they, well, being down 5-2, they do have the hammer, but that front is junked up right now, and I'm sure they're thinking about how much do we want to gamble at this point.
Alberta's putting the pressure on. They're 2 rocks in the 4-foot.
Yeah,
Let's listen to this discussion.
Then we can rip into it. But
what if we bump the center guard into the rings and roll?
it's tricky on this ice. What turn you want to take?
Just to open up that.
Okay. Okay, sure. That's been your.
Right, looks like they're going to try to bump one of those guards, remove it from the front of the rings, but bump it into the rings. Keep it in play.
Open up the forefoot a little bit.
That does look like a lot of ice for a bump, doesn't it?
That's a lot of ice.
Unless he's trying to bump both of the yellow rocks in the rings if they decided on that.
Come around and move jiggle the ones around on the forefoot.
This is Mark Blanchard, Team Manitoba.
It's really close to that yellow rock.
Yep.
They are coming around indeed.
Very nice, Blanche.
Great shot, Blanche.
So he does move the one Manitoba rock out into the, or one Alberta rock out into the open on the right-hand side of the sheet.
And put it behind the tee line, so they've got some options on the right hand of the sheet now.
Forcing Alberta
Definitely. Heavier this way.
to go after this rock. This is Alex Wolf.
Might be cleaning out a couple of rocks there.
It's fine.
I think earlier in the game, too, I mentioned that Alex worked for Spectre, Quality Services. He's actually working in Edmonton, but he still curls with these guys out of Peace River. It was a change for him in career, or at least in location. Alex was the Optimist Juvenile Alberta champ back in 2012. A lot of these players individually, at least, have had other
successes.
Yes.
Great, great.
Yep. T-line. Yellow. Yep. Lots of weight. Lots of weight. Lots of weight. Yep. Go. Yes.
Team Manitoba playing the out-turn draw.
There, let's go. All right, boys, come on.
Trying to freeze down, or at least get it very close. Get shot rock. They're pounding it now. Blanchard and Barth.
Nicely done. They set themselves up for this opportunity, and that was a really important shot to get in there with this at this time.
As a skip, I know I would say to my teammates, you don't want to be light.
You don't want to be light, not in that position.
Alex Wolf, second shot.
Yep.
Fifth in.
What they'll be trying to do here is to come right down on top of that. If they can sandwich that Manitoba rock, it'll be really difficult for Manitoba to get more than one.
There you can see with just a little less weight how much more that rock is curling. We were talking earlier in this game about the differences between what the teams experience normally in their league play and their club championship play, and even regional play and provincial play. The lights on these rocks, not all the sheets have them here, but what are the lights doing for us?
Right, maybe you've seen them as their rocks are traveling down the sheet. Let's take a look at this one, and you see just after it leaves the hog line.
Got two green lights that came on.
The handle. There they are. Right, so what that means is that the rock has been successfully released prior to the rock reaching the hog line. So that's one of the rules, is that curlers must release the rock before it reaches the hog line, and if they're holding onto the rock as the rock reaches the hog line, that's a violation, and the rock would be removed from play. So this takes all the guesswork out of it. Lights are red, that means that you are still touching the rock when it reached the hog line, and then that rock would be taken out of play.
Out-turn draw by Jeff Charco. Down to the forefoot.
So that'd be something for them to get used to. They'll be noticing those little green lights in the first few ends that they play. They also need to activate those green lights by flipping the rock over before they deliver the rock. So that's that's what you normally would do when you're cleaning the bottom of the rock off, is just flip it over.
Also a lot of preparation for a curling club like Kelowna Curling Club in preparation for this event. Those rings would have come in the off season in the summer, so the Travelers logos would have been put down into the ice surface as it was being made. That's not done partway through the season. That's for
right,
the whole
that's
season.
Early planning, and that's what the folks here in Kelowna have been doing for well over a year, is preparing for this event. Volunteers, ice preparation, and exactly that, putting those rings in the travelers.ca.
And then the handle changeover happened just before the practice round on Sunday, because there was actually a bonspiel here at the club on the weekend.
There was. men's open spiel. So it's a busy club. There seems to be something going on all the time. So a lot of work for the ice makers and the volunteers here to get prepared for this.
Nice draw coming down for
really sandwiching him in there.
Scott Webb,
Double or peel. Yeah,
trying to line himself something up for his next one.
Peel.
Okay, what does he got here?
With the hammer here in the fifth end, trailing Alberta 5-2. Manitoba with an undefeated record here in Pool A. And Alberta doing wanting nothing more than to put a blemish on that record here this morning.
Smart call. He sticks it. I got normal.
Nope, just control.
Wow, what's he looking at here, Laurie? I'm actually thinking he's going to play a run back.
Long, double run back. Red onto red onto.
To sit onto yellow to sit possibly 3 if he nails this.
It's fairly straight, but it's long.
Again, with the movement on these rocks, you be very careful to call these sweepers on at the right time. It's very close to this.
Very close. Bang, bang.
Wow.
And he's moved it off of the 4-foot.
Very nice.
Red sitting 3. Nicely done.
I can't get under. I won't get underneath that.
Did expose his own, or did expose Manitoba's rock, or his own rock a little bit there, so Scott Webben is going to have some options here as well. He's looking at the inside roll in the red one. I don't know if he can get enough space there to get in behind.
And then he's drawing for 3.
He's got a big out here, though.
I don't think so, maybe. Not enough
Yeah,
to get
that's a
seconds
very
on it, right?
tight.
The best I can do is just sit here.
Tight spot. Yeah, the best he can do is just sit there. Maybe a tiny little flop inside.
So that's a great shot by Andrew Wickman. Under some pressure here, trailing 5-2, and in a position he needs to score here for sure. And
That's a beautiful shot.
like to score multiple points, and you know he didn't throw all that much weight on that.
I was surprised. I expected a little bit more weight. But they had the ice figured out there. I also thought it might curl a little bit up on them. But good call. They called the sweepers on at the right time.
One rock remaining for each team here in the fifth end. Team Manitoba trailing but with the hammer and sitting multiple points.
We gotta hit the open one. We gotta hit the open one. We gotta hit the open. Hit the open one.
Scott's pretty clear now that he's sitting in the.
I think he's saying, let's not give up more than 3. Is he conceding 3 by hitting this?
I think they're trying to play the scoreboard here.
If he ever gets the roll.
How do you get the 3rd point in there?
Go!
Depends where he sits with this one. That's right. It'd be very difficult. Maybe that's what he's thinking. We can just give up 2 here if I hit and stick.
Even if you flip to the. Well. You know, it may even be better for him to roll out.
4 was in place. Kind of waiting to tell him here.
So he's got an in-turn draw possibility he's looking at. Jeff Tarka was trying to show me also had an out-turn hit possibility.
He can make it for 3.
Yeah, you heard Scott there just say, let's make him make it for 3. I had to take one of those away.
Yeah. And Andrew immediately went to the draw, so he's feeling comfortable with the draw weight.
All right, Eddie. What the hell? I didn't think we burned it that much
Yeah,
time.
we're taking a lot of time. If we keep up that pace, we got just enough. So
3 minutes. We got to do a 3-minute, under 3-minute end here.
Yeah, look at they're talking about the time clocks there. You can see that Team Alberta is a little worried about their time. They need an under 3-minute end is what they said on thinking time. This is the last rock in the 5th end. Team Manitoba, delivered by Andrew Wickman. Wants to draw down for 3, needs to be in the 4-foot.
Pound it! Keep it going! Keep it going! Keep it going!
Looks like he's got out in some fresh ice there. Could be up short. Struggling a bit with his draw weight.
We hit
He was pretty
everything.
confident when he put down the broom. Didn't quite work out for him.
2 for Team Manitoba in the 5th end. Now trailing 5-4 to Team Alberta. See some sponsors up on the screen right now. They're local sponsors. One of the things the local committee is asked to do is gain some sponsorship dollars from local partners. all important, an event like this, and the massive budget that an event like this has, some of the local commitments from businesses, support, just awesome. We're going to name some of those and their contribution. Two of the local sponsors that are major sponsors, Kelowna Ford Lincoln, Dean Bradshaw donating 4 vehicles to transport brand new vehicles, beautiful vehicles, transporting the teams back and forth from the curling club to the hotel. Kind of an interesting combination here because the curling club is so close to the hotel, but yet far enough that if it's raining or if it's a little bit chillier, if you play 2 games in a day, you can just hop in the truck.
And we've seen those volunteer drivers back and forth, working their shifts all day long into the evening, transporting these participants to and fro. And we've seen lots of folks walking back and forth beautiful Kelowna streets. So thank you to Ford.
And Ford Lincoln, and we also want to say thanks to Kevin Becker and Barb Becker from Tim Hortons, 2 of the stores here in Kelowna, for the Cooper location, also Sexsmith for supplying coffee for all the volunteers all week long here. It's amazing. 80 cups a day we're going through.
80 cups a day. I think I've just gone through 4 of them this morning. Thank you very much, Barb and Tim.
Barb and Kevin, yeah.
Barb and Kevin
from
with
Tim's.
Tim
You're
Hortons.
right.
There we go.
Over 100 volunteers locally pulling off this event this week. Very important to have that kind of support. I've been chairing the host committee, and when we met with Curling Canada in April, they said, you're going to need about 100 volunteers. And I said, really? Are you sure?
What are we going to do with all those folks?
Yeah.
Pretty soon you find out that's just scratching the surface. These folks put in a lot of hours.
Do need it. Well, we have 16 drivers rotating to drive these teams back and forth.
And can I just say how much of the influence those drivers have on the participants' experience here? It really makes a difference. I mean, participants really appreciate the time they spend with the
so much more than drivers. They are actually they're hosts. They're hosts.
Exactly. They get to know the teams really well. They get to know their preferences, and they hear all kinds of stories, and they share stories, and it's
as we used to say in Alberta, where we both moved from, smile, you're a tourist attraction.
Smile, you're a tourist attraction.
Yep. We are in the 6th end of play.
Whoa!
This is lead Damien Ganass. Out turn, just touches the guard.
It looks to me like Scott maybe just made a little bit of a change in approach here. Last end, he played the game, he played the draws, and gave up 2. Was almost giving up 3 there. So he's been calling a little bit of a cleaner end this end. But as we saw from the last end, and with the 4-guard rule, you have the opportunities to catch up.
There 36 volunteer officials from around the valley and Kelowna area. And other parts of the province come in for this event.
And those officials would be doing things like the time clocks that we're watching and keeping track of that. Those officials would be updating the Curl Cast on the Curling Canada website. Curlcast is the point system. We're showing the points, the scores for each of the games going on right now.
That's right. If you're looking for updates on any of the games, you can do that in live time. They're updating them. You can go to www.curling.ca, and then you can go to the live scoreboard, and you'll see the games as they are unfolding.
Lots of good information on there, and you can also find information on the Travelers Cup of Curling here online through the curling.ca website and the links there.
Nice double.
Sorry about that, bud. That was my fault.
I don't know if I got a sweep something.
So something interesting just happened there, and I'm not sure that all curlers have this same experience. And some clubs, as you may or may not know, have boards along each side of the sheet. So those boards would stop any rocks from the house from squirting into the sheet next door. And what just happened here was a rock went scooting over to the next door sheet.
So they do have walkways here in Kelowna on these 12 sheets. You have walkways after every 3rd sheet, I guess. So other than that, it's wide open. What's the reasoning behind that? What does that allow for, Lori?
What that allows for is very clean ice surface. One of the things that's drive a curler crazy is dirty ice, and what happens with bits and pieces of grit on the ice is that they'll collect underneath a rock or grab a rock as it's traveling down the sheet, and it will change the path of the rock, and that's very frustrating as a curler and as opposition to see that happen. So without any boards out there or any wood out there, it allows the ice makers to really keep the ice nice and clean.
Scraping and maintenance becomes a little easier.
Any roll, Damien, any roll.
Absolutely.
Outturn hit, trying to keep that center open.
So along that same topic, I've seen very few rocks picked through this event.
And we mentioned earlier, ice seems to be holding up well even in the later ends with the aggressive sweeping of some of these teams and the breakdown of the pebble sometimes at home clubs with the ice is holding to the time and not getting those little smudge spot picks at the end of the game.
Right. Something else that may be contributing to that, if you take a look, you'll see on the brooms that you see a lot of yellow mustard colored broom heads out there on the ice. And those are the broom heads that have been approved and chosen to be legal broom heads.
There's a little controversy this last year in terms of the World Curling Federation and making a determination that some materials were not deemed suitable or could give an unfair advantage to certain teams. So they have
right. If you follow so-called broom controversy, and some of the materials were highly aggressive and
breaking down the ice
and really some of those top-notch, powerful curlers were successfully making rocks move and dance down the ice.
Different ways, which meant at the beginning of this competition, when they were getting ready for their practice times on Sunday afternoon, Curling Canada officials were checking each one of the broom heads, authorizing each one of the broom heads, and that was the broom head that they would have to use for the entire week.
Okay, so I think too, if you take a look at the brooms, you'll see little pieces of duct tapes around the handles of the brooms, and that was the indication, or that was the that's what the officials used to indicate that broom has been checked and that it's an official broom.
I know even yesterday there was a spare that came in. There's a spare pool here for teams that have we had somebody with the flu yesterday from New Brunswick, and they had to use a approved broom of the player he was replacing.
So. Okay, so that broom needs to be used through the whole event and be used by the spares. That makes sense. That's unfortunate. The flu, the first day?
First full day. I think he only missed one draw in the morning.
No mark.
See at the end of the games that the curlers do the elbow bump rather than the handshake.
Some of them definitely are, yeah. That's an outturn draw. Very nice by Jeff Tarko. Third for Team Manitoba. Team Manitoba playing out of the Fort Rouge Curling Club in Winnipeg. Be some people, I'm sure, gathered around the live stream there this morning, cheering on their club champions.
Good morning, Fort Rouge.
I guess afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
Almost afternoon for us here.
Still time for one more Tim Hortons coffee?
Still time.
I think we kind of show them a piece.
Manitoba's working hard here to generate points.
What are you thinking?
Be like now, guard or other side?
Definitely tell they're trying to play a quicker end here. Catch up on their score clock here for Team Alberta.
I'm going to go halfway down. And see what
Some
happens.
discussion here about the next move.
Alberta with the hammer here in the sixth end, leading Team Manitoba by a score of 5-4. Looks like Manitoba is going to elect to split the house. At least they're talking about that rather than the guard. Nope.
Rather than the guard. No,
looks like they're going to go back to the guard.
We're going to get too complicated in.
See the time clock ticking away there at the top. for Team Manitoba, but they've got a little more time on their clock than Alberta does right now. It has not been a factor at any game that we have seen or heard so far this week, but it can become a factor if you get into some delicate shots and more thinking time and you've used your timeouts.
This would be typical of the kind of game where it would take some more time. There's a lot of rocks in play, lots of situations with options and multiple options to choose from, trying to decide what's the right way to approach.
Tight. Pick.
So he's chosen to throw up the guard here.
Did say it picked. And we just after we talked about no picks, it did pick.
Did we jinx them?
Maybe. Wow. Is curling. Just over curled a bit to expose that rock in the rings. Yeah, it's going to be almost entirely wide open.
No hesitation. And enough room that opportunity to hit and roll behind that guard.
Stephen Byrne holding the rock for his skip. Scott Webb. His wife Kim, 3 children, Ashton and Jaina and Micah back at home. Mom and dad as well. He's a salesman for United Flooring. Except not this week. Not selling any flooring this week.
Not selling any flooring this week. He's just selling good releases.
So out-turn hit, a little bit of a roll. Still pretty open, I think, for Team Manitoba. You can see a good angle there, good camera angle.
I'm thinking bumper.
Yeah, I know. I was waiting for it. I saw you saw it.
And it just, I mean, even this does. I don't know if he gets to roll this whole. I can't see the whole thing.
Amazing crew here from New Horizon Productions this week. I was talking with the owner of the company, Scott Melnick, and getting a reputation. Newer company in Kelowna here, but doing a great job of the live streaming this week from this championship.
Excellent job. Yep, kudos to them. The camera work has been fabulous. We've not missed a thing. From both ends, and 2 sheets going at the same time. So really, it's a real bonus to be able to advertise in this way and to live stream it. Yep. As we've talked about, we have teams from across the country. This gives the opportunity for people back home to watch in.
And as the popularity of this championship grows, of course, it's just an amazing thing to have a sponsor like Travelers involved, national sponsor like that, supporting this event, local sponsors coming on board, and really took it to a new level when Curling Canada made it a part of their championship series. This is the last rock. Sixth end of play.
There we go.
Scott Webb. Like to blanket.
And as called.
Blank end here in the 6th.
Thank you.
Alberta retaining the hammer, going to the 7th. We played just 8 ends of play here. There's another major sponsor here in Kelowna, Ambrosia Apples.
Oops, sorry. I'm in the way again.
At the train station pub, one of the local eateries and establishments real close to here, Fernando's Pub downtown. Might have been on the downtown tour we took with the teams last night.
It might have been.
There's your host hotel, Delta Hotel and Resorts. Beautiful location, close
Terrific facility. Yep.
close to this curling club.
Yeah, many of the teams and friends and family took the opportunity to do a walking tour of downtown yesterday and last evening. Enjoyed by all.
Over 100, I believe, 20 or so people touring downtown last night. This is Cam Barth from Winnipeg. North South Consultants is who he works for, and Cam thought that they'd be live streaming in the lab today. Both Mark and Cam, Mark Blanchard and Cam both work for them, and they said there's probably more work being done than ever this morning.
Oh, probably. Well, hello to the folks at the lab.
Cam, also known as Mr. 100% at the Rouge, although I'm not sure that has to do anything with curling.
We'll have to get him to fill in the blanks there.
Be battling for position as we enter this 6th end. Team Manitoba definitely going to want to get some points on the board and steal back into this game.
Right, and they did have a really good end going last end, some rocks in play, and that's what they want, and that's what they'll continue to ask for.
Going in.
Yeah, here.
Okay.
A good swinging ice is the kind of ice that you
want
want in your back pocket when you're trying
Up
to
you.
generate points. Now the discussion is whether they should put up another guard or
Okay.
come on in.
Let's go in. See what we're doing.
Just glanced over at the Sheet 12 game, that
Up front's okay
all-important ladies game in Pool A. 2 undefeated teams, Ontario and Nova Scotia. They have 2 blank ends in a row, and they're now in the 7th end and still tied up at 3-3.
Top 4 foot. Top 4 foot line's good.
Lot of room, lot of room.
Blanchard, just Blanchard. Go, Blanchard, go.
Go, Blanchard,
Sweepers are
go.
Right, the sweepers want to stay on it.
Trying to get it to finish up for him. Not quite buried. See, it's fully exposed there, and Scott Webb takes no time at all in putting down his broom to ask.
I wonder if Manitoba will be thinking in the back here whether throwing up that guard and taking advantage of the 4-rock rule was an option. They probably, they should have considered a little bit more.
Damien Ganas, local radio DJ and morning show on Kicks 106 FM in Peace River. I guess he's not doing his live show this week either.
Maybe they're streaming us. Interestingly, I had a chat with these folks last night, and Damien had indicated that at one point he was just about ready to move from Peace River to some other opportunities when he was asked. So curling is what kept him in Peace River. So he asked me to curl. I stayed, and then I had to buy a place. So here I am in Peace River.
Down.
And now I'm representing Alberta
Oh, it's good.
here
It's good.
in Kelowna.
And if you're Damien's boss listening to that, he really likes his job as well, apparently.
Right. I'm sure he said that too.
Out-turn come around Team Manitoba trying to generate some stealing options here for themselves. This one looks like it's going to finish up a little better. Nice draw.
Yeah, that forces Alberta to go after the guard now.
Stephen Byrne. He called on to play the out-turn peel. Cleanly the release before the hog leg, as the green lights indicate.
With the Manitoba tuck there. Pick that off. Manitoba tuck on the Alberta team.
So you've used that phrase a couple times this morning, Lori, the Manitoba tuck. What are we referring to?
Right. What we're referring to is the type of delivery where the thrower has their foot
Right,
like
like
on their
that?
toe, just like that, and their foot's tucked up underneath
Tight.
their
Tight on its own.
leg.
Okay.
And then
Real
this,
tight.
This thrower here actually is using
Get over,
a
girl.
straw broom, and that's
Dying,
Mark
still
Blanchard.
tight.
right. Thank you.
Still too tight.
Which
No,
is
it's
another
coming down nice
common
now.
feature of the Manitoba tuck to that type of throw, because so many great throwers from Manitoba have a very similar
Throwing
delivery.
style, yes, delivery
Exactly.
style, yeah.
And you'll see that alternatively, these other throwers will have their sliding foot flat on the ice.
So you get the flat foot delivery versus the tuck.
The tuck delivery, that's right.
Second, Stephen Byrne. Again, throwing out-turn hit, peel on this front guard. No problem there, removing it.
You see Stevens doing the Manitoba tuck, but he's using what's called a crutch to deliver. He just set it down in the back there, rather than the broom that others are using.
So it's just a delivery device.
Delivery device, right? It's personal preference.
First chance I get it, I'm going to try it.
Yeah, a little heavier here. A little heavier.
Talking about volunteers and the number of people involved, opening ceremonies was interesting too. We had
Tight.
28
Yeah,
grade
it's
6
tight.
students carrying the flags and banners from Bankhead
Easy.
Elementary School, which was very,
Excellent.
very cool to see.
Excellent.
Introducing them to the game of
Have a
curling.
look.
Yes,
I think we're up. I think we're up.
which is so important to keep our sport alive and well.
Yep, Marth, yep.
As does this event. It really gives a chance, an opportunity for those that can't curl full time in the winter, but like to be competitive and compete for a championship, for the average club curler to actually say, I could make it to a provincial or national championship?
Really got to say that that's a visionary competition that we're participating in here. So that's exactly what the idea is about, and it brings in some enthusiasm and regenerates and rejuvenates a sport that didn't, and curlers that may not have had that opportunity. It's really...
Well, even here in our club, I've heard a number of comments this week is just, you mean we could play in this?
We
Yes,
could play in this.
You could play in this.
The other thing that's I've heard folks talk about yesterday, it was the ladies from Newfoundland that talked about them representing 2 years ago, and this year. So the rule is that you cannot represent 2 years in a row. So the winners go back home, and they've brought all this enthusiasm and excitement and the stories back home to their home clubs, knowing that they're not going to be able to represent in the following years, or in the following one year.
Yeah.
But that pumps up others in the club and the surrounding areas to get excited about the opportunity. It's a really good rule.
I was talking with Robin Maddie from, she's the event manager for Travelers Curling Championship, and she said her estimate is about 30% of the players in this one that have played previous Travelers Championships. About 30% of the players.
Is that right?
Yeah. Not maybe as a full team, but they have played. This is Alex Wolf, third for Team Alberta from the Peace River Curling Club.
Well, there's no doubt when you have the opportunity to come at an event like this, it gets into your skin, and
you want to
really
come
good
back.
drive to
you
come
want to
back.
come back.
Yeah.
A nice come around bump, trying to remove Manitoba's rock off the forefoot. They do so successfully. Nice shot by Alex.
Very nice.
Team Alberta leading 5-4, and with the hammer in the 7th end. We just play 8 ends here. Travelers Curling Club Championship.
Same conversation going on here.
Straightening up just a little.
Andrew and Jeff thinking about what to do here to generate some points.
Make the double, it's not terrible. So what's our play? We're going to do this?
I've talked. Possible in this one, with the way they're situated, to actually make the double and roll underneath the guard?
I think if he hits this first rock quite thick, he has the opportunity to come across the inside one, maybe with enough weight to push both of them out and to roll in behind the long guard.
Might get clapped on the back of the head for this one.
We have a final from a couple of final games they've completed out there. We'll give you those updates in a minute. Andrew throwing the out turn, hit and roll or double. See how it turns out for him here.
He's got a big chunk of this, and
a little more chunk than he wanted.
A little more chunk than he wanted. I'd like to have that inside roll.
Keep him over here.
So either result would have been nice would have been helpful to stop in front of the yellow, freeze right onto it, or to flop in behind the long guard.
Manitoba does not want to give up 2 here in the 7th end. That'll put them down 3 coming home. On ice number 1, it was a Pool B game in the... It was a Pool B game in the men's division. Ontario defeating Team Nova Scotia 8-3. We had a ladies game on sheet 4 now completed. Alberta beat BC 9-3. Nice win for the Alberta ladies. Here's Scott Webb delivering his first of 2 rocks. 7th end of play. It's feature game.
Touch out. I was just trying to touch out a little bit.
Right, and you can hear Scott talk about wanting to just touch the yellow one in the house so that he can create some separation between his 2 rocks.
Yeah, right where it's perfect. That's good.
It's very close to.
Jeff Charco and Andrew Wickman. We'll try to listen in on their discussion here as they decide what to do on Andrew's last rock in the 7th end.
Yeah. Oh, I know we can.
Let's not sell the farm.
No, no, I agree with you.
Like, we got options here, right? Roll here, roll here. Make a thin double, we got some options.
Catch
kinda
it
wait.
thin, I guess, what Tark's is saying.
We could throw normal.
I think with like a, yeah.
I don't know if that guard's pretty high though, eh?
That's a tough little trot. Control.
So it looks like they've settled on throwing some control weight, playing a thin double. Or is he playing the hit and roll, Laurie? What do you think?
That was a mistake.
I don't know, boys. What do you think?
He's
I
going to
think they're
talk
still
with his front
talking
end.
about
Yeah.
it here. So the thin double would need a little more weight than just control.
Control. Okay.
I think what they've decided on is a control hit and roll.
Little roll. It sounded like it. Yeah.
So the roll meaning
Roll.
the roll behind the long guard.
Last rock for Team Manitoba.
Oh, that's really curly.
Hard. Hard, hard, hard. Ooh. All right.
Really took off on him with that little less weight. We've been talking about that. That weight's so critical on how much it's going to curl.
A lot of discussion around what was the right end result for this.
So that will allow Scott Webb and his team from Peace River Curling Club,
No, I don't think so.
representing the province of Alberta, to draw down for 2 points and really take control of this game. They're leading 5-4 right now. They have this last rock advantage and this second last end. He makes this, he'll be up 3 coming home. Gonna get a time on this one, Laurie?
Right, give us an idea what's going on in this 6th end of play, or 7th end of play. They're not sweeping extra hard. They're looking pretty comfortable with it. A little bit clean there. On the watch, it's showing 14.5 hog line to hog line, and that puts it right into the 4-foot. Very nice draw.
Thank you.
There it is. Team Alberta gives them a commanding lead, 7-4, heading into the final end of play. Some of our sponsors again, locally, nationally, for this event.
I don't mind it either.
Three, I don't mind the first one in, the second one
One of the
through.
local restaurants downtown, popular last
Four
night
is
with the
different,
folks
three I like
traveling
to wait
their tour. City of Kelowna, nice grant for this competition. And yes, Curling Canada, major event in their season of champions with the Travelers, 2016 Curling Club champion here live in Kelowna.
Curling Canada, major driver behind the success of so much curling in Canada.
They also do a really interesting auction this week as part of this event, Laurie, to raise funds for junior curling programs across the country, so that another generation of curlers can be brought up and trained in the sport. And so each province or territory was asked to bring an auction item to this event that is silent auctioned all week long, but you can also bid online.
Right, I understand, and I'll need to check that online. I have definitely been walking around with my pen at the silent auction. Here's some beautiful items here, and I just want to say out loud, I want people to stay away from that red jacket, 'cause my name's all over it. But yes, some beautiful items here, and a really, really interesting initiative. I talked to the ladies from Nunavut, and last year they were fortunate enough to be the team that brought in the largest amount of money on their silent auction bids. So percentage of that, percentage of those funds go towards the club of the team that brings in the most most money. So they took back a significant chunk of money to their club in Nunavut, and that's been very helpful for them. So online, I have the understanding as well that even if you're not bidding on a particular item, you can go on and make donations.
You can donate
in the
to
name
junior
of your
curling.
club.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, very good.
Team Manitoba, that guard delivered by Cam Barth. He's a dual sport athlete, by the way.
That's
you know that?
interesting. So many folks that are at this level of curling are dual athletes. But tell me, what is his
Well,
other
his
sport?
teammates told me this morning that he's a hockey player. Plays for the Hecla Islanders.
Hecla Islanders.
I didn't ask what he's better at, whether it's curling or hockey playing.
Maybe we should ask him.
Other side.
Or maybe we should ask his
The fans
teammates,
watching live online can maybe
help us out with that.
help us out with that.
Who wants it there?
Had a question yesterday too about the sensors, those sensor handles. What triggers them? And that's again part of the prep here, is that they actually had to put a sensor in the hog line before they put the ice in this fall.
Right, that's what I understand. So there's a device in the ice at the hog line, as you indicate, that has to be put in the ice before the ice is made,
Go hard,
which
Go hard. Get away over there.
talks to the rock, for lack of a better word. So as the rock is approaching the hog line, and if you're holding on
boy,
to
boss.
it,
Good boy.
that contact between your hand and the rock and the sensor in the ice is what triggers the red light to come on. And if your hand is not on the rock, then the green light comes on.
Very interesting.
It is very interesting, and it's taken away. It's taken away that
Subjective.
Subjective. That's exactly the word. Subjective perspective. So, and I in the past have been hog line.
Violated? I mean, been called for a violation?
No, I probably have too. But what I was going to say was, as a hogline judge at competitions, and the pressure of being a hogline judge is, it's just not one of those things you want to do. And it's really difficult to really see, as someone is, when you're standing at the hog line, look across at the hog line to see whether someone's actually cleanly let go of the rock or not. Is it's just really difficult. So now that they've taken the subjectivity out of it, it's you can't debate the result. Something I learned too that I think would be hard for me to get used to is that these are really sensitive handles that are put on the rocks for this competition, and as a curler you need to be just careful. So you can't be kicking the rocks into the corner or using your broom to pull a rock out of the corner.
They actually had a special little memo from the officials to the teams the other night when they were giving them their, I guess the overview for the week, as they requested specifically to not be kicking the broom or the rock handles or pushing them with their brooms either.
Broom handles,
Yeah,
right.
you have to actually push it on the rock to not damage the sensitivity of the rock handles.
Yeah.
We are well into play on this, the 8th and final end, unless we should happen to see a 3-ender by Manitoba and force the extra end here.
Manitoba's working on getting the guards up there, really wide guards, forcing Alberta way out there for that peel, and
A little extra weight that didn't curl.
did not curl.
So we've got what we like to refer to as the field goal post set up for 3.
You know, we spend the whole game throwing down the center and draws down the center, and now in the last end you're peeling. You're doing something different than you've had to do all game, and be out in places on the ice that you haven't spent much time in.
Okay, we only got 5 more
This
rocks.
is Mark Blanchard
Wait there.
playing
Around.
intern come around.
And did you
Trying
hear him
to-
talking about only 5 rocks
Yes,
to come?
yeah.
Little up.
5 rocks to come, and he needs
Pound
3
it
of
when
those
you
to be
can.
counters.
Can't.
Waiting for it to make a big move. Probably means it's got a little too much weight, I'm guessing. Will it stop in the rings?
Come on.
Just grabbing onto the back there, sitting on the word better.
Got room. You want to go this way?
A little discussion about what turn he feels more
I
comfortable
like this.
with.
Shoot.
It's going to go with Alex's intern.
Yep.
Alex Wolf delivering intern hit.
Okay, Turk's pretty
Whoa.
quick here, eh?
Won't want to sit around.
Okay.
Any rock that's in the house, especially behind the tee line and behind guards, is going to be an opportunity for Manitoba.
They'll take all the help they can get at this point in the game. Down 3 with the hammer here in the 8th end. Both teams have some time left in their clock, so that should not be a factor in this game. Here's third Jeff Tarko.
To the back.
That's good to hear about the
To
clocks.
the back. Line's okay.
Gives us some anxiety when you have to think about rushing things.
Jeff wanted to say hi to his mom Debbie and sister Monique, niece Lily. Coming around, much better angle on this one. Will it stop in time to be shot rock?
Beauty. Great shot. Very nice. Very nice, Kirk.
Well, they walked away from that pretty quick. Both teams, I'm not sure. It looks really close from here.
You know, New Horizon Productions, who put in the cameras last week, they started on Wednesday, stringing lines and putting in special apparatus to get as many camera angles as possible with stationary cameras on the ceiling of the ice surface. So we don't have the direct overhead camera shot on the rings, which sometimes makes it hard to tell who shot rock. But what it does allow us with those remote cameras is to see so much more than we would normally see with a stationary camera.
Right, and we've seen the evidence of that today too, just cameras scanning from sheet to sheet to sheet. And yesterday in the morning we were able to, after our feature game finished, have some bonus coverage by going to the sheet next door and watching the end of it.
Which might have happened this morning. I was looking over the other TV game today, or the other live stream game was over on sheet 8. It's now final. It's a ladies game between Newfoundland Labrador and PEI. Newfoundland Labrador winning 7-2.
Yeah, the amount of effort it takes to set up this equipment and set up this whole operation is big. There's crates and crates of equipment coming in and yards and yards of wires being pulled.
Scott Melnick from New Horizons was telling me also just the largeness of this event and the number of staff he has to have, and a number of them having to get up to speed on the game of curling quickly.
Oh, good. That's good. They'll be back then. You can't help but love it once you get involved with it, right?
Trying to get rid of those guards does not make them go away.
We are playing with the outside 6 inches of curling sheet here.
There's a good angle to see what you can probably see almost from the hack area there. Team Manitoba needing 3 to force an extra end and running out of rocks, but they do have some corner guards up in front, and they do have shot rock. Jeff Tarko coming down again, asked by his skip Andrew Wickman to make an in-turn draw.
Just a little less. It's for sure T.
For sure T, but a little less.
Hard, Cam, hard.
Looks like it's curling.
Hard, hard. Whoa, whoa. Yep.
Really urging them on here. Good communication.
Yep.
Kind of caught in between here.
Lots of discussion about the line versus the weight versus the line. That's
well, in ice, when it's moving this much, especially as the weight comes off it, it's really hard for sweepers to hold the rock.
Right. And at some point, you're not going to. All you're doing is just making it go a little bit further. You're not going to be able to hold the line at all. And I think that was the communication they were trying to have was.
We don't need to sweep it for weight.
We don't need to sweep it for weight, but there was some call to sweep it for line to try to keep it straighter so that it it would be closer to the red rock, freezing to the red rock, so it could be second or maybe first shot.
So what are we thinking here? Manitoba sitting first and third stone with Team Alberta sitting second?
Did jiggle things around a little bit. I'm wondering if from this angle it looks like Manitoba.
I like to come down to it.
It looks like Alberta might be sitting shot.
Really hard to tell. I just tried to step out and take a more natural view rather than our camera view here, and that might even be for a measurement at Shot Rock right now.
Yesterday during a measure, I think I saw almost my first tie. They were measuring 3 rocks.
Really?
Determined the first.
And were they using their new laser measure?
No, they were using the regular stick, traditional stick, and remeasured the second and third stones. In the end, determined after a lot of effort and a lot of time that those two weren't tied.
Scott Webb, his first rock, in the 8th end, his team leading 7-4 over Team Manitoba. And he's decided we better play along
Hard
here.
Turks. Hard Turks, hard
So he's
Turks.
got enough weight. He wants to move some rocks. He's going to jiggle things.
Oh, he did move it right out of the rings. Now I would think that it looks like most assuredly Team Alberta sitting 2. But with an interesting scenario being at the back of the house behind the tee line and some guards in play.
And 2 Manitoba rocks to come.
And they'll need them both.
And they'll need them both. And that little biter.
No, they are probably.
So there's two officials that work at the far end of the ice here. Those officials are the ones who do the measurements. Those are the officials that also hang up the scores on the boards, and then they would be available to make any decisions for any controversy or unclear situations.
You got you what I'm saying? Yeah. Only if I got a clear out. Something's got to be up. There's got to be.
Well, we're going to freeze them right now.
He bumps the 5 out.
They're 1 and 2.
Yes.
Andrew Wickman's first rock of the 8th end. His team from Manitoba trailing Team Alberta 7-4. Needs 3 here to tie. They are presently in their pool at 3-0. Team Alberta at 2-1.
Let it curl, let it curl, let it curl.
All important draw. Number 4.
I'm saying let it go, let it go. Backline weight, really beautiful weight.
What a great draw. He struggled a little bit with draw weight in this game. That did not show that at all.
That did not show that at all. He's got to be happy about that. Alberta knew that what they were going to do right away.
They're going to ignore it, aren't they?
They're absolutely going to ignore it. They're placing a rock anywhere else in the house, knowing that Manitoba needs to count 3 to tie. Putting a rock in another part of the house makes it really difficult for Manitoba.
As long as he stays far away from that pile of rocks and puts it in play, it's going to make it very, very tough, if not impossible, for Manitoba to get 3.
Exactly, yeah. So the best spot for this rock is probably 1 or 2 places. One just really at the top of the house, shot, or right at the back of the house.
Hard Turks.
Nobody's touching it.
Hard Turks.
Oh, it's sliding here. He's right down that center slide path.
Didn't see that one coming.
Oh, man.
No, that's really unfortunate.
Both skips have had one of those this game where it just got on a slick path, a little bit extra adrenaline maybe.
Maybe a little bit of adrenaline coming home with the opportunity here to put things away.
And as a guy that plays on this ice regularly, it does not take much. Actually, there's a Kelowna factor known here that it's a little bit quicker coming towards the glass in Kelowna. It's not about the level of the ice, it's about the heat and everything else. And it's probably a half second quicker on most sheets coming towards the glass. So that's also a factor. The teams were talking about it last night as we walked with them downtown, that they've noticed on some sheets that they have to be aware of at least.
Right, that's something that you need to pick up on fairly early. And I saw early in the competition that was catching people off guard a little bit.
We're just talking about
Yesterday the discussion was around whether it was a result of the mountains or the water.
Some of these guys are golfers, and they know that most golf courses are built with the slope of the greens going towards the lake.
Towards the lake, exactly.
And it is that way. It is
It
towards
is exactly
the lake.
that way. So tilted a little bit towards the lake, coming towards the glass here, so it's a little bit quicker. That could have played a role in why it slid through.
Where is it?
So they're just talking, I think, about what kind of weight they're going to throw here, Lori.
Bumper on the nose, he said?
Bumper on the nose is what we hear.
Bumper on the nose would give him 3 and force an extra end.
And force an extra end.
Since we're being paid by the hour, we don't mind that.
Sure, just bring me another Tim's.
Bumper on the nose, eh?
Bumper on the nose. They're pretty confident, and that's what the call is. Just really, really not not a really difficult shot. If he can get to the nose of this with just a little bit of weight, he'll be sitting 3.
The broom's in the right spot.
Bumper.
The weight's in the,
Yeah, it's just
the
simple.
broom and weight.
Well, they're not pounding it. Oh,
Need it to curl a little bit here. It's close. There it is.
Thank you very much, eh? And you can hear the applause of the appreciative spectators around us.
So there you go. 3 for Manitoba in the 8th end to come back and tie it up. It is now 7-7 as we go to an extra end. There's the BNA, some more local sponsors here from Kelowna. Really interesting story about BNA, one of the local, a newer restaurant and pub downtown Kelowna. Is they renovated a building that was 100 years old, over 100 years old. 100 years ago, it was the BNA, British North America Tobacco Company. And a couple of years ago, got bought out. It was a warehouse for a audio-visual company for a while, and they restored the original timbers and brickwork, and they took on the original name BNA, but
BNA.
It's now not a tobacco company. It's a pub and restaurant.
It's a beautiful pub and restaurant. Last night I had the pleasure of being in there for the first time, and I had no idea about the history. That's very interesting. And I wondered what BNA stands for, so thank you for that. That's nice to see. And the one thing that is nice about downtown Kelowna in that way is a lot of local establishments and a lot of independent restaurants and stores and not chains. Kelowna has a beautiful downtown walking area and interesting shops because of that.
Taking a little bit of a break here before we go to the extra end, allowing teams to regroup, talk about the strategy. We're going to take an opportunity to run down the other games that have completed in this, the 4th draw of the 2016 Travelers Curling Club Championship. Sheet 1 today, Ontario over Team Nova Scotia. That's a men's game, 8-3. Ladies game on sheet 2. Lori, what did we have going on there?
On sheet 2 today we had Manitoba playing against Northern Ontario, and the final score in that was Northern Ontario 6 over Manitoba, who scored 3.
Pool B game in men's on sheet 3. Yukon, who was sitting at 0-2 with a decisive win over the Northwest Territories, 8-2. On sheet 4, Pool A women's game, what do we have happen there?
Right, in that game's final as well, we have it was BC playing against Alberta. Alberta came out on top with a score of 9-3.
Still going on sheet 6, ladies game, Manitoba and Yukon Territory. New Brunswick and Yukon Territory. New Brunswick leading 6-4. I think we just saw the last rock. I'm not sure what finished off there.
Yeah, you're right. They're pushing the rocks off, and do we see handshakes?
Slick here. Let's go.
Not clear what's going on there either. We'll come back to that game in just a minute.
Back to our feature game.
Okay, where is it?
This is the extra end. They did push the rocks to the far end of the ice, so they are coming back towards the lake again. Going to play the same end for the fans.
Right. We should be familiar and used to this weight in this direction.
Don't touch it. Don't touch it.
Cam Barth delivering. Trying to leave a guard up in front. This one,
All right, tight guard it is.
just start. Tight guard it is.
They wanted that one to stop. They want to take advantage of that.
Andrew says, all right, tight guard it is.
And you can see the clocks in the background. There, each team gets 5 minutes of thinking time for extra ends. And so we see what's going on the game next to us. The ladies, New Brunswick and the Yukon Territories, are pushing the rocks down to the other end, so that means they're going into an extra end as well.
2 extra end games here. So playing with the free guard zone here, they cannot fully remove this stone.
That's right.
I like the high one now, boys.
Couple of options here, and what they're what they were working on doing here was just ticking Manitoba's rock over, not removing it from play as per the rules of the four guard rule. So just ticking it over to the side so that it's not guarding the center line as perfectly as it has been, or is.
Narrow.
Where's the weight? Gotta get it on the center line.
Trying to get a higher guard this time, a longer guard.
Gotta go,
Cam
Mark.
Bart delivering his outturned draw, outturned guard. Andrew Wickman wanting it higher this time.
All right, that's good.
And just curling over to guard the right side of the.
So
the
why a
center
longer
line.
guard, Lori? Why would we go for a longer guard rather than that tight to the house guard?
We like to have your guards get staggered here. Gives the opportunity, or less of an opportunity, for Manitoba or for Alberta to double rocks off. So now they're forced to choose one. So which one do they want to try to get rid of?
So the longer guard would give a little more time for a curl to get around it. But with the curling, with the rocks curling as much as they are, that has not been an issue even with the tight guard this week.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right.
Oh, that's going.
Really hard.
So with swinging ice, long guards aren't ideal, but with the locked end and with for rock roll, you'd like to have two rocks in play out front.
So if this rock was to slide right through, that's going to go back up in front.
Wasn't going.
It's a different way
It's
of doing
not
it.
going, he says, so will remain in play.
Interesting situation.
Going in now.
So what Alberta was trying to do there was the same chip shot that we had talked about on the first guard.
You like that, or you want to go for
Overcurled
it?
a little bit and just pumped the Manitoba rock into the back of the rings. Left up two guards.
As we've mentioned, Manitoba coming into this fourth round undefeated, 3-0, and Alberta at 2-1 would like nothing more than to get a win here.
Okay, where are
We
we?
anticipated that this game would be a battle
8 foot.
Okay, 4 foot, yep.
and some really good shot making.
Where is
and
it?
we've seen both of
Gotta
them.
go for
Seen
4
all
foot.
of that.
Gotta go for 4 foot. Okay, no, we're there. We're there.
Pound it, Tarks.
All there. No, it's there. All there. All there plus.
Lots of weight here.
That's okay there.
Come on, very nice spot.
Scott Webb, I'm sure, going to go do some cleanup here.
Yeah, exactly.
With the hammer in the extra end here, he will want to get rid of those guards in front.
And that's why you heard Manitoba talk about that rock they just threw sliding behind the tee line is actually in a pretty good place, because we know that Alberta's not going to go after that right now.
That's fine. We gotta get rid of that.
Stephen Byrne removing the long guard
Chopping our way
belonging to
into the
Team
house.
Manitoba.
Attaboy, Blanche.
Or actually, to their own rock
Right.
that had jammed earlier.
You like this way? Okay. Right on the center line.
Yeah, it's odd
split
as a
the
curler
center
to be
line.
throwing at your own rock and removing it from play. It doesn't feel natural. But in this case, it was definitely advantage Manitoba to leave that rock there.
The way we'll peel easier.
Split center.
Split center. So the discussion was around where to put the guard. Where's the best place to put the guard
on,
to
boys.
protect from the
Get her
double
together.
peel, from getting rid, from
Split center.
allowing Alberta to get rid of both of those guards.
Again, we're live streaming 2 draws every draw, 2 games every draw here at the Travelers Curling Club Championship in
good.
Kelowna.
Hey,
Terrific
line's
coverage.
This afternoon,
Halfway.
Get over,
draw
girl.
at 3 p.m. Pacific time, 3 p.m. local time here in Kelowna. We'll be featuring 2 games.
Okay.
The men's draw will see Nunavut against PEI. And over on sheet 8, the ladies' game will
Yeah, that's
be
good.
Team
Good.
Quebec versus Team Saskatchewan.
Nothing
It's
wrong
in
with
draw
that,
5
Blanche.
today.
Good.
Tell your friends, tell your family,
Sure.
watch live online.
Right. If you don't have the opportunity to actually watch online, you can go back and catch the recordings of the games later.
They are saving them. It's a really good opportunity to go back and watch.
And I suspect that these curlers will be going back home and watching their games later on as well.
Team Alberta again
Yep.
asking Stephen Byrne to remove
Whoa.
this guard,
Yep.
at least one, if not both.
Okay.
The angle they're at and wasn't going to get to very easily. Makes it go off the center line. Does stick around with the
That's
shooter.
okay. As it was coming in, I realized that we're sticking right there anyway if we make that.
Right. If they make the double, and you can hear him talking about that exactly. So
What's that?
priority was getting the top cleared
Yeah,
off.
it's faster.
Is that yellow rock a concern out in front of the house now? Come into play on this end?
Well,
Like a shot at it.
probably
Halfway on its
not.
own.
Probably not.
Good.
I mean, any kind of guard out
Clean
front
it.
is going to be something that you have to pay attention to. But
Clean it.
in this situation,
Yep.
it's tied up. Coming home.
Clean it.
Everything playing towards the center.
Everything playing towards the center. And one way that it might be of assistance to Alberta is if the center is really guarded up and Manitoba has their rock in the button and there's no other way to get at it. Alberta has the opportunity to use that yellow guard out to the right as a run back guard.
And as a skip, that's not what you want to be looking at as your best option to finish off a game.
How is it that I'm in this situation?
Yeah. How did we get here? Alex Wolf, again, being asked to remove the guard out in front.
That just makes me think about curling and the strategy of curling in general. And curling is one of those things that after the games you can talk about and analyze and rethrow and reconsider shots.
And sometimes you don't want to.
And sometimes you don't want to. There's an awful lot of salt and pepper shakers on tables that are laying out the lay of the land from the game before.
Jeff Tarko, again being asked by his skip, Andrew Wickman, to throw another guard. Playing out of the Fort Rouge Curling Club in Winnipeg. Trying to get the long guard up there again.
And with them having a rock in the house, Manitoba will continue to ask for guards. Alberta's going to, at one point, stop and think about whether they're going to go after the one in the house or continue to take the guards.
You just saw Scott Webb say one more. Are we going to run one more before we go in here?
That's exactly what he's talking about. One more. Let's take the guard off, and then we'll start coming in the house. Good push delivery.
Yep. Hard.
Again, getting it off the center line.
Just rolling over enough.
Got one.
Fan's actually taken away that outside run back that we talked about earlier.
We're going to talk about this, take a little time out here. We're going to update you on the other games that have completed here in draw number 4. We covered a number of the games already, but over on ice number 7 today, that would be a men's game, New Brunswick and Newfoundland Labrador. Newfoundland Labrador winning 9-4. Over on sheet 8.
I think we bury it now.
On sheet 8, we had the ladies. We had PEI was playing Newfoundland, and Newfoundland came out on top with a score of 7-2.
Sheet 9, which was another men's game, Northern Ontario and Quebec. They're still going. It looks like we've still got another couple of rocks to come in the 8th end. Slower pace of play there.
Tied up coming home.
You know what? They're in the extra end. They took them to the other end as well. We're in the extra end. It's 5-5 playing the extra end there.
Right, there we go. Okay, and over on sheet 10. On sheet 10, we had the ladies Saskatchewan was playing against Northwest Territories. And in that game, Saskatchewan came out on top with a score of 5-2.
Men's game on sheet 11, PEI losing to Saskatchewan 7-4. And on sheet 12, that all-important battle of the undefeated ladies game over there. Nova Scotia came out on top over Ontario 5-3.
Pretty good.
Front of the tee.
Nova Scotia ladies, they came to play.
As soon as it kicks in.
They came to play, and they took 2 coming home.
Now we're using on the next one.
Blanked the 3 ends prior to that and kept that hammer to the last end to score the 2 win.
Well, they talked for a while about what they were going to do here.
That's okay.
Andrew Wickman's first rock of this extra end, the 9th end.
Go. Yeah, gotta go.
Sitting one at the back of the forefoot and wanting to place this guard in a position that takes away any good play for Team Alberta. He's coming right in.
Gotta go.
Interesting.
Yeah, after a lot of conversation, a couple options there.
We waited
Longer guard,
as long as we could. Like,
tighter guard,
we swept the way
tuck
we
around the corner into the house.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. You see that?
Really tricky because you're also trying to guess at what your opposition is going to throw. You throw the guard, you give them an opportunity to come around and beat you to the button.
It is very tricky, especially with their Manitoba rock behind the button.
I want to spin off a little bit. If I nut this, it needs to spin off a bit or something, right? I need 8.
Okay. It's got to be just an 8 though.
Yeah.
Just, you know what I mean? Like.
Well, I'm not worried about that even hanging as much as making sure that these go off there, right? That's the key. Is this is.
Okay.
I just want to give it as much chance that if this comes back hard, it's going to go out.
Okay.
Nice to have the opportunity
Well, they're
to
straightening up, so
hear them
like
talk
your guys'
to each
appeals
other.
ran pretty good.
Yeah, that made it really clear. He really wants to get rid of both of those rocks and sit there.
Still got 30 seconds.
Okay, thank you.
Nothing that Scott would like more than to have an open hit for the win.
Is that what Skip's like?
Further out is with guy.
Actually, they like not to have to throw the last draw.
Well, I think we're past that point here.
Like if we released it, I want
I shouldn't say that, but there are definitely moments when you would like to just say, hey, we've already won.
Yeah.
Hey, let's just shake hands, go upstairs, analyze this game.
A lot less pressure.
Yeah.
It's been a fun one to watch, Lori. This is round 4, draw 4. 2016 Travelers Curling Club Championship. This is Alberta skip Scott Webb playing the intern double.
Pretty quiet out there. Just needed to curl up. Another rotation might have done it. Now
As they
Andrew
say,
has the opportunity to do what he wanted to do the first rock.
generally don't like to leave the opposition the chance to do the exact same shot twice, because chances
Good
are he's
point.
going to make it a little better than he did last time.
Yeah. Yeah, very good point.
It'll be an exciting conclusion here. 2 rocks remaining
On the line, bite the fourth.
in this extra end. Tied up at 7. And Andrew Wickman playing the intern draw.
All there. Little more.
Like to get it in the house. I think partway guarding his own stone and partway
Hard
tucked
line,
around
Jeff.
possibly.
Lots of weight. Lots of weight. Hard line. Doesn't matter. Hard line.
Good communication there. It doesn't matter about the weight. We want it for line.
This one's curling a little bit more. He's going to get it to the forefoot. Just about.
He left it for him.
But he did leave it exposed with backing for a draw.
Oh, good.
That curl took the best of that rock. We had to sweep it for. Well, the weight was very good.
Excellent weight. Just that little extra curl. Probably a half a rock too much curl.
Yeah. Left that back one on the back 4 foot wide. Well, not wide open, but really leaves lots of room for Alberta to get in there for shot.
What do you think? Are you thinking straight draw here? Are you thinking backing? Because weight is so important here. You throw a little bit extra weight, it's going to hang a little straighter. You throw just for a plain draw, and there's a chance it could over
They could
curl
take
on
off
you.
on you. Ideally, you'd want to throw the just cold draw freeze to the button and not think about the
backing
rock,
it
the
on.
back of the
Line's
backing.
good.
Give it to the
Line's real good.
give it
Gotta
to the
move.
sweepers and let them take it.
It's in the sweeper's hands now. Last rock of the extra end. Team Manitoba, Team Alberta.
Hard
Alberta
tarts.
needing a piece of that button.
Hard tarts.
Oh, looks
Hard
like
tarts. He's got lots. Thanks, guys.
just what you said. That little extra weight.
Kept it a little bit straighter. Didn't give the rock to the sweepers and give the sweepers the opportunity to make the shot.
Team Manitoba dodging a bullet here. Taking 3 in the 8th end and then stealing 1 in the extra as Team Manitoba, Andrew Wickman and his team from the Fort Rouge Curling Club in Winnipeg remaining undefeated, now going to 4-0 with a 8-7 win over Team Alberta. Actually, they might have got more than 1 point there. I didn't even look at the final outcome of that end, but they got enough to win, that's for sure. And that will wrap it up for us here on draw number 4. Thanks for joining me, Lori Seaman, Gary Brooker. We'll see you again. We want to invite you back this afternoon when the feature games will once again be at 3 p.m. Pacific time. It'll be Nunavut versus PEI in the men's game, and it will be ladies' draw. Will be Quebec versus Saskatchewan. You have your choice to watch either one of them.
You do. Middle of the round robin, and we're going to start to see things separate out in our standings. So we'll have some more information for you that at 3 o'clock.
You can check out all the results online, curling.ca. You can check out the scoreboards from the draws. You can check out the actual standings for both pools, for men's and women's. And we encourage you to do that. You can check out team profiles. It's all there. Thanks again on behalf of our fine crew from New Horizon, which included Max and Colin today on our sheet. I'm Gary Brooker along with Lori Seaman, bidding you good luck and good curling.
Have a good day.
One might say I was born to overcome challenges. 2 months premature, in and One might say I was born to overcome challenges. 2 months premature, in and out of the hospital, and a heart condition. My parents call me their miracle baby. As with all survivors, I searched for my place in this world, and I found it here. This pebbled ice is where I battle now, and at only 12, I am already a 5-year veteran of this sport. I have my sights set on the Olympics. I will push hard to get there. The only size that matters in this sport is the size of your dreams.